Well, hello there, and welcome back to another Tuesday night edition of Jake Tuesday Night Streaming. Yeah, every Tuesday, doing the damn stream thing. How is everybody doing out there in YouTube land? All right. First off, I wanted to point out to anybody watching that I have live replay turned on. So that means you can go back to the beginning even while the stream is already live. And what happens sometimes, people they lose their spot in the stream, and so what they do is they fall behind for whatever reason. And then I can tell by their comments that they're reacting to stuff that I talked about 20, 30 minutes ago. So check it out. D Cran, I think I saw you here tonight. D Cran, you fell like 20, 30 minutes behind. And so every time I would read one of your super chats, you would say, hey, you missed my super chat. And then all of your comments when I looked at the replay were from like 20, 30 minutes behind. So check it out. Make sure that you click on the live thing, the word live. You click on that and it'll catch you up. Sometimes people get 5, 10 minutes behind. And so everything we're talking about in the chat will be ahead of what you're seeing. And you'll wonder why you're the only person still talking about some shit from 30 minutes ago. It's because I got the live replay turned on. So now that I got that out of the way, how's everybody doing? It's Tuesday night. You guys ready to have a good time tonight? Do some breaking down of the world stage characters. I got a good one tonight. The word is that Hulk Hogan may have possibly been replaced. I can't say for sure yet. I'm just beginning my investigation. And I want to invite you along to investigate this whole Hulk Hogan possibly being replaced situation. I had some of my subs bring it to my attention, and I'm just now getting into it. So I figured we'd get into it together. And then there's a crazy idea I heard floating around that Trump was talking about bringing back Alcatraz as an actual prison and putting all of the world's or the country's most violent and psychotic criminals there, like the America's most diabolical criminals. We're gonna stick on Alcatraz. According to Trump, is it just some crazy bullshit that he's spouting, or is he being serious? We'll get to that and a whole lot more. Starting us off with a super generous super chat. I'm rigged says, before we start anything, Gangster's Paradise by the Tasmanian Nut. And why are we so blind to see that the ones we at are you and me? We've been spending most our lives living in a gangster's paradise, all right? Been spending most our lives living in a gangster's paradise. All right. Just because you sent such a good donation, I'm going to have to look up the lyrics since I don't know all the lyrics off the top of my head, and I'll continue where I just left off. All I could remember is the chorus, so hold on. Because this is a very good request. It's a good comedic request and very generous donation. So I feel like I owe you more than just that. So let me go ahead and give you a little more. And I'll even leave the lyrics up on screen for everybody. Here we go. All right. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, or take a look at my life and realize there's nothing left. Because I've been blasting and laughing so long that even my mom thinks that my mind is gone. But I ain't never crossed a man that didn't deserve it. Me be treated like a punk, you know that's unheard of. You better watch your talking to where you walk, or your homies might be lined in chalk. I really hate to trip, but I've got a loke. As they croak, I see myself in the pistol smoke. Fool, I'm the kind of G all the homies want to be like. On my knees in the night, saying prayers in the street light. Been spending most of their lives living in a gangster's paradise. Been spending most of their lives living in a gangster's paradise. There you go. That's a long song. I feel like if I keep going, it's just going to get worse. All right. That is a good comedic request to start us off. Very creative. A little Aaron Haywood. For those of you who don't know, there's a guy who thinks I am a shape-shifting archon. You may remember now that I just reminded you. Yeah, that guy. That's who he's talking about when he says the Tasmanian nut. He's talking about Aaron Haywood, the guy that thinks that I'm also Nick Johnson, thinks that I'm also some bare-knuckle boxer in the UK, thinks that I'm 10 other guys. Yeah. So there you go. Gangster's Paradise by Aaron Haywood. Kicking us off. All right. How's everybody doing? I did a stream Saturday night. It was a fun one. I went back and watched it, and I even made myself laugh several times. So I know it was a good one. It didn't get a ton of views, but man, I went back and watched, and I did some funny shit in that last stream. So if you missed the last stream before this one, skim through to where I do the funny shit. Whew. It's good. If I don't mind saying so myself. Shane Ross says Richie from Boston is back. Yeah, you must be behind a little bit. That's old news. We were talking about that ages ago. In fact, Richie never really did go anywhere. He's been spouting off on the BitChute and the Odyssey, and he had his Overlander, Highlander, up and down the lander, smoking holy Bible vape juice channel. All right. He's just been reinstated recently. RFB2 is back. That is exciting to be back on YouTube. Now, one thing I've been trying to warn people about is the only way that you're going to be able to rid yourselves of any nano poisons is if you are smoking, vaping my holy vape juice made of 100% recycled organic Bibles. If you want my 100% recycled organic Bible vape juice that cures nano poison, which inevitably has been stored up in your body for years, you're going to need to use my promo code down below if you want to get 10% off. Or don't. Or just go ahead and let the nano poisons build up inside you. Do whatever you like. I don't care. I'm out. All right. So to start the news off, let me pull up the Hulk Hogan stuff. All right. So Hulk Hogan's new look made mainstream news. So it wasn't like they tried to pull the old switcheroo behind our back without us noticing, right? So they didn't like slip this one in under the radar. So there's videos about it, but check it out. Top stories, MSN. Hulk Hogan's new look has everyone stunned. Hulk Hogan's dramatic look turns heads. Here's how he appears now. Hulk Hogan's unrecognizable beard sparks confusion. Here's the real reason. Who let him walk around like this? Hulk Hogan's new look on talk show raises eyebrows. So, if it's making mainstream news, they want you to look at Hulk Hogan's new look. So before I go rushing to conclusions that he's been replaced, I have to wonder if by chance it's just a new look that Hulk Hogan has, or perhaps they might wheel out an imposter for one appearance, but Hulk hasn't officially been replaced, perhaps. So there's a few possibilities I got to run through in my head before I say he has officially been replaced. Like Alex Jones appears to officially have been replaced. Joe Biden seems to me was officially replaced. Dave Chappelle, for many years now, has been replaced. So before I jump on board and say Hulk Hogan has been replaced, we got to investigate, see for sure if it's more than meets the eye. All right, but making mainstream news, Hulk Hogan's dramatic new look turns heads. Men's Journal, Hulk Hogan's unrecognizable beard. All right. Then, of course, there's this bug eye image that's making its rounds. If you go to the images, this one right here, this is the one where people are like, I don't know if that's Hulk Hogan anymore. Right? So you got people saying maybe this guy ain't this guy no more. This does look a little masky, I gotta say, with the eyes kind of like going slightly, well, looks like his, see, it still looks pretty similar, but at the same time, there are people questioning if this is the same Hulk. What do you guys think? Huh? What do you guys think? Is there something here? Now, part of me just wonders if this is one of those shots where, like, you catch a man at a certain time while he's saying something at a certain angle and it can look funky. Like, there's shots of me that if you catch me just as I'm going to blink and just as I'm saying something, you know what I mean? And then you freeze frame it, I can be like, or whatever, you know what I mean? So if you catch somebody at the right moment, you know what I mean? They can not be looking at their best. And then you can be like, look at him, look at the wild new look. So mainly people are going to notice the black beard, the dyed black beard in here. Now, he used to sport that same look when he was Hollywood Hulk Hogan in the WCW. When he turned into a bad guy, he stopped wearing the red and gold and he started wearing black and white. And he was the leader of the NWO, the wrestling version of the New World Order. And he sported that same look. So a lot of people don't remember stuff like that, or non-wrestling fans, they won't remember that at all. So they'll just see Hulk Hogan has this black dyed beard, right? This two-tone beard thing that he didn't used to have, but he did used to have that same look. So I can show you. Let me pull it up right now. All right, so when Hulk Hogan was in the NWO, the wrestling version, he had the same look. So a lot of non-wrestling fans, if they see Hulk Hogan, they might forget that he used to have that same look, and he's just going back to it. So because Hulk Hogan has been getting a lot of negative publicity, a lot of people don't have a favorable impression of Hulk Hogan. So apparently, and what I'm thinking, they're trying to go back to Hulk Hogan's heel character, Hollywood Hogan here. And the news just dropped that he might even be starting his own new federation. So perhaps this is a media blitz to set up Hulk starting a new federation. So before I say Hulk's been replaced, perhaps this media blitz is put into place to get everybody and their mama talking about Hulk Hogan. And here I am talking about Hulk Hogan. So this guy right here, if he's still getting mainstream attention over a beard, like this dude's look is still getting mainstream attention across the board, that means he is a high-ranking character in the world stage play going on, right? So this guy gets airtime on TV to endorse Trump, and he's got, his own beer company, and he used to be this beloved character who told us to eat our vitamins and say our prayers, and then he became a bad guy who said the fans can stick it up their ass, and he's all about the money, and he's Hollywood Hulk Hogan. So we have seen this man play many different roles, and he's went through several different, what I would call, humiliation rituals. So what you got is a man who's paid his dues a bunch of times. And so he's going to be in the public eye until he dies. This guy is going to be recognizable and known by the world until he dies. And it seems like he's got one of those contracts where he's got to keep working until he dies, or at least they have to have a character keep playing the role of Hulk Hogan even after he dies. Because this right here is a money-making, tabloid-driving extravaganza still to this day. All right. So then I want to point out he was in this club right here. There's a certain club where if you're a huge celebrity, you'll see someone show up with a god-awful black eye, and then they got a story. I fell down the stairs. In this case, Hulk Hogan shows up at WrestleMania with this black eye, and then he wins the world championship within like a minute, and nobody expected that was going to happen because he wasn't even supposed to be in the world championship match. He just comes out, challenges Yokozuna, beats him in a minute, is the champion, and he's got this horrific black eye, still talked about to this day. The story with Hulk Hogan's black eye, you know what they say it was? They say it was a jet ski accident. It was a jet skiing accident. You know, if you look into it, there's a big club, and then there's this weird deal about having a black eye. These club members who got this weird black eye. Sometimes it's just a little gray smudge. Other times it looks like a horrific, I don't know, almost like maybe a serpent was surgically inserted into their eyeball, right? I always wonder if it's something more diabolical than anyone can imagine. So I try and imagine the most diabolical thing. It's like, what if it's like a serpent that you allow to go into your freaking eye, in your brain, and it controls you and gives you all these thoughts and takes control of the way of your personality, and it feeds off you and you feed off it or something. And all the top celebrities take the serpent through the eyeball, right? The tippitiest of the top celebrities who are in that big club, right? Now, I've also heard other stories about how they get those black eyes. Everything from it's a ceremonial punch in the face to that one drug that you're not supposed to talk about on this platform, having to do with adrenaline. Yeah. So I don't want to go into that too much because I had a video come down when I talked about that a little too much. So, yeah, when I started to relate this club to that one drug, that's when I had a video come down. Boo! Because I used that one term, you know, that one drug. Yeah. Yeah. You guys know what I'm talking about. So there's something up with the eye. I don't believe for a second Hulk Hogan showed up to WrestleMania after a jet ski accident that horrifically just messed up his eye. Imagine getting in a jet ski accident and then it just happens to only mess up your eye, but the rest of your body is A-okay. To get in the ring and body slam Yoko motherfucking Zuna and take the title. So the fact that he was allowed to come in and take the title in Las Vegas without even being in that match to begin with, unannounced, he can come out with this horrific black eye, beat this big, huge, fat dude, Yokozuna, who's like 500 pounds. The crowd like goes crazy, and then he poses with this black eye. And then the story is he got in a jet ski accident. Don't believe it. So y'all, something's up with the black eye deal. I can't say for sure what it is because I ain't in that club. And there's a bunch of speculation online. So if you go on, you know, any of these fringe sites, you're going to get 10 different stories about what the black eye deal means. So good luck trying to put it together. I went down that rabbit hole and I can't say for sure what it is, but I know it's some sort of club. So whenever you see a tippity top celebrity with a horrific black eye, or even a little smudge, and and the whole world's talking about that black eye, it's like a story. There's something there. All right. What do you guys think? What do y'all think of this? Looks like I missed a super chat from Tyson. Says, or not Tyson, Taniri Sepu. Says, hello, Jake and all. Here to show support. Thank you very much, Taniri Sepu. Showing your support with some super chat love tonight. I appreciate that. You are on the board with your support. All right. Also in the house, we got Robert Tosi with a super sticker. Let me go to my watch page to see what it is. It's a fox that's laughing. So Robert Tosi hooking me up with a laughing fox. All right. Looks like Aaron Haywood's here telling me that I got bodied. You got bodied. I don't know if that's the real Aaron Haywood or if that's a guy just making fun of Aaron Haywood, but yes, I play the role of everyone. If you guessed that I play the role of anyone, then you guessed correctly, because I play the role of everyone. I even play the role of Aaron Haywood. I am Aaron Haywood. I'm Aaron Haywood's mom. I'm your mom. I'm you right now. How can I be you watching me do this stream right now? I'm a shifty, moldy roller. That's all I can say. I'm one heck of a hell of a shifty, moldy roller. All right. Good times. Let me pull it back up on screen. You guys. So, before I take the bait and say that this is Hulk Hogan's replacement or imposter, this might actually still be the same dude. It's not that much of a change, right? Even though he is looking a little masky and it is looking a little fake and weird, but he did used to sport this same beard. And if he is starting a new wrestling federation, it would make sense that there's a media blitz around him and people talking about him. So I'm not ready to jump the gun and say that he's been replaced just yet. What do you guys think? Well, let me tell you something, brother. Beings that I was born in 1983 and Hulk Hogan was busy slamming the giant, brother. Well, I'm not exactly sure how I could be a newborn baby and slamming the giant at the same time. And then, of course, before I was born, Hulk Hogan was already slamming big dudes, bro. So, brother, how could I be Hulk Hogan and not even be born yet, Jake? Brother, you know why? I'm one heck of a hell of a shifty dude, brother. What you gonna do when this shifty, moldy roller runs wild on you? I almost started to jump into Macho Man. I almost went, oh yeah. I almost switched into Macho Man by default. Good thing I stopped myself. Nobody wants me to go from Hogan right into Macho Man. That would be uncalled for. All right. Eric Ibu Elliott says, peace, love, and chicken grease. Love from Albuquerque, New Mexico. I say Albuquerque because I'm not from Albuquerque, so I call it Albuquerque. That shows that I'm not from there. No. You know what I have seen on Nick Johnson's channel, and because I'm also Nick Johnson and I'm a moldy roller. But on Nick Johnson's channel, I seen Don't you like when people say that? I seen that Albuquerque is like really shitty now. Yeah, apparently Albuquerque is really, really, really shitty. It's like an extra totally ghetto shithole now. I guess it used to be kind of shitty when meth showed up to town. That's kind of the story, right? When meth shows up to town, stuff starts getting shitty. Well, apparently meth showed up to Albuquerque, and now it's gotten to the point where it's like the National Guard has to come in to try and clear out all the homeless criminals taking over the streets. That's what I've heard, according to Nick Johnson, but I could be wrong. Maybe that's just one section of Albuquerque. All right. But I looked at a few videos of Albuquerque, and it ain't looking very nice of a place to go. All right. JB said, I work with a Freemason that came to work with a random black eye. He said he fell into a washer. Yeah, if it's only their eye and nothing else on their body, like in Hulk Hogan's case, like he shows up with that like god awful black eye, not like someone punched him, but like I said, that like they surgically opened up his eye and stuck a serpent inside there, and it was squirming all around in there. And then they sealed it up, and then he like showed up to WrestleMania and was like, "I got in a jet ski accident, brother. Look at my eyes, see?" And that's still the story that they run with today. So I don't know, man. All I can tell you is this guy, the fact that he's a retired wrestler and he still gets as much play as he does, he's earned his stripes. He's a recognizable character on the world stage, and they got no problems using him as a mouthpiece, even for the president of the United States, right? Can you guys remember any other administration where they had a wrestler come in and cut promos for the president? And everyone's totally accepting of it. So, all right. Thank you very much, JB. Yeah, that's weird. I don't know about the dude at work who works with you. I mean, I couldn't tell you his story for sure, but if no other part of his body is hurt and it was just his eye, that's suspicious. And I read that one. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and dive into some videos about this subject. We looked at some pictures. Let's just type in Hogan's new look and see what we can get into. We'll just see what the first video that pops up is. If you type in Hulk Hogan's new look.
You know, I was there for the Trump rally, you know, and it was so weird to walk out in front of a sold-out crowd and have him scream so loud that my jaws...
That still looks like Hulk to me, y'all. I'm not going to lie. This still looks like Hulk to me.
...were watering, like you smell really good food, and it was so loud and so crazy, and I wasn't wrestling. It was the weirdest vibe not to be wrestling there, because usually I'm getting somebody up in there, brother. But it's amazing, the fans in New York, and I love you. You know, I was there for the Trump rally, you know, and it was so weird to walk out in front of a sold-out crowd and have him scream so loud that my jaws were watering, like you smell really good food, and it was so loud and so crazy, and I wasn't wrestling. It was the weirdest vibe not to be wrestling there, because usually I'm getting somebody up.
So this still looks like Hulk to me, because Hulk, you guys got to remember, he is a 6'4" dude. So even though he's old and he's lost a lot of his muscle, for a fucking old dude, he's still 6'4" and he's still in decent shape compared to other dudes his age. You know what I'm saying? So it's still looking like Hulk to me. And Hulk always did have lots of like defined lines in his face. So before I say that this is a dude in a mask, it's still looking like this could be Hulk. So I'm not totally going to jump on board with this is a replacement just yet.
In there, brother. But it's amazing, the fans in New York, And I love you so much, Rich, for doing this with me because the fans in New York.
All right, let's look at some more videos. My bad, I hit the back button. I meant to hit the back button on YouTube and not StreamYard. And that's what happens if you hit the back button when you're in StreamYard and not YouTube. All right. So I was just scrolling through. And before I do that, since Decran's bringing up Mr. Nanny, that's a good point, Mr. Nanny. Excellent point, because that will let me go off on another tangent. All right, all right. Here we go, Mr. Nanny. Booyah. All right. So here you got Hulk Hogan. He left wrestling to try and be a movie star in 1993. And he was in a movie called, he was in a few different movies, but this movie right here, Mr. Nanny, you can see what ritual he's doing. What ritual is he doing, y'all? Mr. Nanny. You okay? You all right? All right. So yeah, back in the early 90s, it was considered funny for a dude to act like a woman or act gay. It was considered just comedy. But now when you look back, it's like, oh, okay. Now I see. So Hulk Hogan, he paid his dues a long time ago to Hollywood, right? So he was the first wrestler to cross over from wrestling to Hollywood and try and become a big shot. This was a long time before The Rock. The Rock was the next guy who crossed over. John Cena is the most current guy who crossed over. And the next guy you're going to see cross over and take a shot in Hollywood is Roman Reigns. So you might see some movies with Roman Reigns. I don't know if he'll be as big of a star as John Cena or The Rock, or he definitely won't be The Rock or Hogan, but you might see Roman Reigns try to become a star like John Cena even. So you've had a handful of wrestlers cross over to Hollywood movies. And what do they make you do? Okay, Hulk, we want you to put on a dress because everyone knows that you body slammed a giant. So now we want you to go the other way and put on this dress and be Mr. Nanny and act like a ballerina with this little girl dancing, you know, and doing a fucking ballet routine, right? It'll be funny. Hulk didn't have a problem with that, brother. Hulk got paid. Hulk did what he was told in the script, right? Hulk didn't say, no, I got a problem with that, brother, which Hulk has been known to do. If Hulk has a problem and doesn't want to do something, he doesn't do it, brother. But he had no problem doing this. So like I said, when you see Hulk all these motherfucking years later still being talked about, an old-ass wrestler who doesn't even wrestle anymore, hasn't wrestled in a long time, still getting all this attention. Guys, there's movie stars that have came and gone. Plenty of names who no one talks about anymore. Their limelight days are over. Their 15 minutes of fame are gone. But Hulk Hogan still rolling strong. Sports a new beard, and it's like, Hulk Hogan's got a new beard. Oh, have you seen Hulk Hogan's new beard? Everyone's stunned by Hulk Hogan's beard. Motherfucker wore his dress. Sold his soul a long time ago. Got his black eye. That dude might be higher up the chain than a lot of people want to give him credit for, as far as world stage characters. So imagine behind the scenes if you show up to a meeting and Hulk is higher up the chain than like all these other movie stars, right? So imagine a secret meeting where Hulk and Trump are like on equal basis, right? Or maybe Hulk's even more powerful than Trump behind the scenes, right? This Hulk character, there's something to it. The man that body slams giants, tells you to say your prayers and eat your vitamins and be a good little boy, who then becomes the ultimate bad guy, sellout Hollywood Hogan. And he's still being talked about all these years later. More than just talent that's going on. All right. And one baller says, why is it socially okay for women to be gay and not men? I don't know what you're talking about, bro, because on television, they've got tons of gay shows, right? And gay culture's been like forced upon us. So I would say that Hollywood and television shows in general, like, just started forcing gayness upon us. Like, they would have gay characters in every show, and then they would have like shows that are based around gay characters. Then it gets to the point where it's like, you know, they have like RuPaul's drag show, and it gets ratings and people watch it or something. I don't know. So it's you know, I live in California as well, so like you know, it seems pretty open. There's like bars that have the rainbow flags like hanging outside the bar, letting you know that it's a gay bar, you know. So it's like, I wouldn't say that it's not social. It just would depend where you live. If you live in like Wyoming or Montana, it's going to be still more old school, way less socially acceptable. But in a progressive place, right? Any progressive city, Seattle, Portland, San Francisco, you're going to see like tons of bars that are basically all based on their clientele being gay. And so it just all depends on the area you live in, I guess. All right, let's get back to, well, let me check my fan funding, make sure I didn't miss anyone's super chats. And I haven't. Sweet. All right. So let's continue. Let's check out a video. Hulk Hogan's new look. Try and get a little more. Little more information on whether he's been replaced or if it's the same old dude, brother.
On Fox News, Hulk Hogan debuted a new appearance that has viewers worried about the legendary wrestler. The 71-year-old made an appearance on Fox and Friends on Thursday to advertise Real American Freestyle Wrestling, his latest sports endeavor with promoter Eric Bischoff. Hogan's skin appeared especially worn on air, despite his well-known deep tan. In addition to his typical red bandana and sunglasses, he was wearing a t-shirt that read, "America first, beer second." In the meantime, his hair and goatee were left white, creating an intriguing contrast with his beard, which seemed to have been dyed black. "Tell Hulk Hogan his face is dirty, clean, and that's it off," one spectator said. Does anyone think this is Hulk?
Gotta love these new AI videos that make their rounds and like dominate the search results, right? It's not like I went and scraped the bottom of the barrel. That was like one of the first ones that comes up. Some AI. Like, where's the real people? All right. Let me try and find another one.
We're up and running. We're on the crest of the wave, and we're on it.
This looks like just before he dyed it. So this is a TMZ 5 days ago. So this looks like the day before he dyed it. So he's got it set up, and he's saying that he's going to launch a new pro wrestling league. And this looks like just before he dies it. I think I found it right here, that this is the video of the day before he dies it.
A crazy roll, man. It's getting nuts.
Yeah, so tell us about this, Hulk, because if people are thinking, hey, this is professional wrestling, this is WWE. No, this is not. This is freestyle wrestling or amateur wrestling, but on a professional level, Hulk. Tell us about what you got going on here with you and your buddy Eric Bischoff.
Yeah, well, it all started out with the beer. You know, the real American beer, just like the Hulk Hogan name. The Hulk Hogan's got over 1,000 licenses out there for products. You know, we started out with real American beer. It was an open lane. One of the huge companies messed up their marketing plan, so I saw this open lane for a light beer that could bring America back together. So we started out with that new brand, real American beer, and all of a sudden we're looking for all these opportunities. And Eric Bischoff, myself, my partner Chad Bronstein, we're always looking for that Wild Wild West deal. And all of a sudden, you know, we're talking about TV and the industry and stuff. And
so, you know, like, brother, we started this new beer, and brother, it's like my brand, you know, like we started the beer. So we got that started. And then once we started the beer, brother, then we started talking about, you know, Eric Bischoff. Then we started talking about TV, brother. And
it's like, oh, because you started beer, then you starting a new wrestling federation comes out of it because you got into the beer business. Oh, that makes sense. You were sitting around drinking your own beer and you got so drunk that you decided you're going to start your own wrestling organization. Is that the story? Hulk Hogan is a proven liar. That's his business model, is that he fucking is a liar. He'll lie about even things that like everyone can go look up real easily, you know.
Andre the Giant, he died just a little after I slammed him.
You know, it's like, no, he didn't, dude. He lived years after you slammed him, you idiot. And he died because he was a fucking giant and his heart couldn't fucking take trying to carry a fucking 500-pound man. So anyway, Hulk will say, he'll say some stupid shit. And so right here, when he's talking about how, oh, he started this beer, and then the idea came up to now he was talking about, you know, TV and another wrestling promotion, starting a new wrestling promotion. You know what's going on? Hulk Hogan would never put his own money on the line to start a wrestling promotion.
No way, brother. That don't work for me, brother.
Hulk Hogan would never put his own moolah, his own cash, to start a new wrestling federation. With the way things are going right now, no way. Eric Bischoff would never put his money to start a wrestling federation. Eric Bischoff doesn't have as much money as Hulk Hogan, and he ain't putting in anything. So you know what happened? Some other dumb motherfucker who maybe wants to put his money in, maybe some old rich dude wants to give Hulk and Eric Bischoff money to start a new federation. But I can tell you 100% for sure, Hulk did not put any of his own money into whatever this new wrestling venture is. Because right now, the WWE is starting to lose business and they've got the market cornered. And then there's AEW, which isn't even half as big as the WWE. So to start another organization right now, as we're entering a recession, he has to be using somebody else's money. Ain't no way this dude's going to stick his own money on the line. So whatever this new organization is, it's most likely doomed to fail, and it ain't going to hurt Hulk's wallet, and it ain't going to hurt Eric Bischoff's wallet. I'm guessing there's some other dude behind the scenes helping finance this. All right. And it looks like I had a super chat go by. Let me go snag that. Nev Soul says, B. Arthur was a man. Cool, bro. That doesn't really have anything to do with what we're talking about here. But thank you for the super chat nonetheless, Nev Soul, brother. All right.
I'm noticing the reality TV and the scripted stuff isn't popping and cracking like it used to be, but live sports is really taking over. You know, the new volleyball league, Shaun White, the snowboard league, you know, Left Lane was backing those guys, and now they're behind us and all.
New volleyball league. Ain't nobody watching volleyball. What are you talking about? Sean snowboarding guy. I haven't heard about that guy in like 15 years. He's still a thing. Guys who snowboard is still like a thing that people care about. Yeah. If we're going into a recession, I doubt anyone gives a fuck about volleyball or Sean's snowboarding guy anymore. What are you even talking about, brother?
All of a sudden, since wrestling at its core is what I'm all about, I've been in the ring with some really crazy wrestlers. Like I got Brock Lesnar right after he left the UFC. I got him first. I got Kurt Angle when his eyeballs used to roll back like a shark and he'd come after me. Benjamin Shelton, all these different guys that I've had the opportunity to see adapt to our business. I said, something? There's something there with these amateur guys because they don't get to continue their career.
Okay. So if Hulk Hogan is starting a new wrestling league and they want attention on Hulk Hogan and his new wrestling league, so there's like this media blitz. I'm guessing there's money that's been pumped into this to get all these publications talking about this. And I'll bet it's all because of that new fucking wrestling league. That's it. So I'm not ready to say Hulk's been replaced. It looks like this is a bunch of them media blitz to get people talking. But nonetheless, let me see if I can find more people talking about his look. All right, I got another AI video. You guys, these AI videos are the ones dominating the search results.
To promote his new sports venture with promoter Eric Biscoff, Real American Freestyle Wrestling. Hulk Hogan showed off a new look on Fox News that has viewers expressing concern for the wrestling great. The 71-year-old appeared on Fox and Friends on Thursday to promote his new sports venture with promoter Eric Biscoff, Real American Freestyle Wrestling. Real American Freestyle events will feature single matches at 8 men's and 4 women's weight classes.
Oh, I can't do it. I can't do the AI. Let's see if I can find a better video than that. Okay, I'm going to Google Hulk Hogan's new look. See what we can get here.
I just hope you guys are ready.
Hulk Hogan was sporting a changed-up look fans who were around in the 90s definitely recognized when he appeared on Fox and Friends on May 1st. Let's just say it had heel turn vibes. The Hulkster was on the show with former WCW president Eric Bischoff to talk about their new freestyle wrestling league. More on that in a minute, but what really caught viewers' attention was Hogan's spin on his classic style. A blonde handlebar mustache and a bandana over his signature skullet. The Hulkster's stubble around his mustache was...
That still looks like Hulk to me. That still looks like the Hulkster to me. So I think they have a shot of him just looking kind of bug-eyed and stupid. And then they have people like thinking, is this even the same guy? Look at his beard. What's up with Hulk Hogan? But that looks like Hulkster to me, brother. Looks like it's a media blitz because of his new wrestling organization, straight up.
Dyed black. That, along with some carefully selected screenshots of the former champ looking a little bug-eyed, had people on X saying things like, Hulk Hogan looks like he's gonna steal your catalytic converter. Hulk Hogan looks like he sells copper wire he takes from streetlights.
Like he's gonna steal your catalytic converter. Well, brother, he used to do rails of cocaine at the height of his career. He used to do steroids and cocaine and then cut promos where his eyes would be bugging out and his veins would be bulging out. Go look up 1980s Hulk Hogan promos. And there's a handful of them where I swear he just like railed a bunch of coke and like he's got steroids coursing through his body. And he's like the most intense Hulkster that you could ever imagine. And so I have grown up seeing the bug-eyed, bulging vein Hulkster. And so to me, it still looks like the Hulkster, just a really old, tired version of himself. And since he's old and weathered, and he's one of those guys like Trump who likes to get an orange tan, his skin does kind of look fake and masky. But he's one of those dudes who's always went to the tanning bed and been fucking orange. So there's those guys who do that orange tanning bed shit and their skin just looks fucking fake. But it's because they fucking sit in a tanning bed all the time.
Another commenter who watched the interview simply said, OMG, goodness, yikes. Yet another compared him to a Woolly Willy, the toy where you can put different beards on a drawing of a face.
Hey!
Oh, relax, Woolly Willy.
The look may have surprised some, but longtime fans know the dyed black stubble was a key component of Hogan's Hollywood Hogan persona, back when he was the leader of the NWO in WCW. Hogan had been wrestling's top babyface for well over a decade when he shockingly turned heel to form the faction alongside Scott Hall and Kevin Nash at Bash at the Beach 1996.
So this is the infamous moment where Hulk Hogan joined up with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. They had just come over from the WWF and they created the wrestling version of the New World Order. And this was the exact moment it happened. And so if you watch this clip, fans flip out and they start throwing garbage into the ring. And within a few minutes, there's like nothing but garbage in the ring. Fans were so angry that Hulk Hogan turned into a bad guy. So this is considered to be the greatest heel flip of all time, where Hulk Hogan turns into Hollywood Hulk Hogan. And so every wrestling fan knows this moment. This is a famous moment. But those who don't know will just dismiss it as some stupid fake wrestling shit. So there's a symbolic moment that happened here. The babyface, the good guy, sells his soul to Hollywood, becomes Hollywood Hulk Hogan, the leader of the New World Order. So they have a wrestling faction that just happened to be called the New World Order. And they take the greatest good guy of all time and turn him into like the biggest villain of all time. And to this day, even though he's not even wrestling anymore, he can go back to that old persona and get all this press. Wow. None of these other wrestlers get any sort of press. Like this guy, Kevin Nash, he's got to do a podcast here on YouTube to make money and get clicks. This motherfucker's dead right here. Now, this guy's dead. So Hulk is like 100 times more famous than both these other two bums combined, right? And these other two dudes had big time careers, but they're bums compared to Hogan. Yeah. What does Big Sexy do currently? He does YouTube. What I do. A lot of the old wrestlers do YouTube for a living now because they don't have any other way to really make money. If you can't wrestle anymore and you're an old retired wrestler, talking about wrestling here on YouTube is what most of them end up doing. A lot of them. And then they do the conventions where they have people like pay for their autographs and shit like that, for meet and greets. Hulk Hogan doesn't have to do that. Hulk Hogan doesn't have to sit and do what I'm doing. Hulk Hogan is so uber famous still and has made so many fucking millions and has his hands in so many different merchandising deals and corporate deals galore that he would never have to sit here and do this. He might have got to the point where he could get replaced, All right. All right, so let's move on to Trump, because I can tie both these two dudes together. Trump ties to Hulk Hogan. You had Hulk Hogan promoting and endorsing Trump publicly at Trump's conventions, right? So let me just go to my channel. Pull up one of my old videos. Show a picture that still relevant to this day. All right, check it out, y'all. This was taken a long time ago. A long time ago. And this is still an important picture. This is still a very important picture because Hulk Hogan is still endorsing Trump to this day. So this is a brotherhood, an alliance, a sworn alliance till death do 'em part. Hulk Hogan's going to be in the corner of the orange man. Now check this out, y'all. What are Hulk Hogan's colors right there? The red and the yellow. Hulk Hogan's red and yellow, very famous and iconic, those logo colors. He wasn't like Macho Man Randy Savage. He didn't like switch up his colors and shit. He only had the red and the yellow and then the white and the black when he was a bad guy in the NWO. So there were only two logos that Hogan used. And the main good guy logo that he's famous for, the colors right there, red and yellow. And when you mix the red and the yellow together, you get the orange. And of course, Trump is known as the Orange Man. And orange is known as the Masonic Number. And here you got Steve 33, who just so happens to be bringing it to my attention. Thank you, Steve 33. How convenient, right? And then what corporation does Trump love? What is Trump's favorite fast food? What's Trump's favorite fast food to eat? Trump eats at McDonald's. Trump loves McDonald's. Trump went to work at McDonald's even when he didn't have to prove that he's a hardworking American, and even said, words out of his own mouth, he loves all of McDonald's products. They asked him, which is your favorite McDonald's product? He's like, I love them all of it. Quite frankly, McDonald's is one of my favorite restaurants. I can't get enough of their French fries. They've got plastic and nanoparticles in there. Drives me bananas. Can't get enough of McDonald's French fries. The nano poison is absolutely delicious. It's quite incredible. Right? McDonald's, red and the yellow. You mix the red and the yellow together and you get the orange. Trump is known as the Orange Man. Is this all just a coincidence that Hulk Hogan uses those colors that remind people of eating food, consuming food, and McDonald's uses those colors, and when you mix those colors together you get orange, and Trump is known as the Orange Man? And here they are many years ago with this handshake thing. How many men do you pose with like that? Hey men, I know it's mostly men watching me right now. How many men do you pose with in a photo like that? When was the last time you posed with another man in a photo like that? Now, I know what it's like to have a long time friend you haven't seen in years. So there's guys who I haven't seen in 10 years or whatever. And if I was to see them, I'd give them a hug, at first sight. But I wouldn't pose with them like this. This is like a whole other thing that they're doing here. So it'd be one thing if you hadn't seen a dude in a long time who was like your best buddy from high school, let's say, and you hadn't seen him in 10 years. You were like, oh, what's up, bro? And you gave your bro a hug or something. But this right here is like something else. This is like some other sort of affection. And then the fact that they want to get this photo op together, it's not like something that was done in secret. So this was back in the 80s, and these two dudes are still friends. Still Hulk Hogan giving promos for Trump. Still in his corner. Ride or die till the very end. And it's not like Hulk is just using Trump to bolster his character. No. Trump has him at the rallies and shit. So Trump wants him there, right? That's part of the script. So it would be different if some wrestler after his career died down started trying to jump on the Trump train for attention. That's a whole nother fucking thing. That ain't what this is. This dude's still getting massive amounts of attention. It's because he's way up the ladder on the world stage. If you're a wrestler and you were making moves like this behind the scenes that long ago, you are going to
Trump are holding hands.
You're going to be a set man for life. You're always going to be a rich man in the limelight. Even if the limelight is negative, people are talking about you. It's all that matters. In 2025, whether the news is good, whether it's bad, as long as they're talking about you, you're still famous. Corey Feldman's going out of his way to be as cringy and ridiculous as possible. That's the only way he can stay relevant. Otherwise, he'll be a forgotten movie star. So right now, in 2025, if you can maintain negative attention, you can maintain fame. You can make money on your negative attention. Corey Feldman, that's a great example, see? Many notches below Hulk Hogan. All right. So let's go into Trump now. Segue into Trump. That's a good spot to segue into Trump now. Trump's talking about bringing back Alcatraz, of all places. Which, this is a stupid, ridiculous story. But let's go ahead and entertain this story for a minute and talk about it. Talk about how ridiculous the whole thing is. President Trump orders reopening of Alcatraz. What? Reopen Alcatraz.
All right, welcome back in here to Live and Now from Fox. I am Andy Mack. It is nearly 8 o'clock on the East Coast as we're following the time.
Hi, I'm Andy Mack. It is nearly 8 o'clock on the East Coast, but first, Jake has a super chat. Mr. Meaner said, yeah, brother, hood. Yeah, you can tell that's some secret handshakey shit right there, dude. And those guys are like ride or die brotherhood till the end. That's why Trump still has Hulk Hogan doing those promos for him. Hulk Hogan's still getting massive amounts of attention, right? So you can't say that like old ass Hulk's trying to ride Trump's coattails to stay famous. No, they're cross promoting each other big time. And the Hulk Hogan still with all these huge deals, right? Just release a new alcohol company and going to start a new wrestling federation. So there's people pumping money into Hulk. Ain't no way Hulk's doing that with all his own money. All right, let me make sure I didn't miss any other super chats before I get off on another rant. And I guess I missed one from you earlier, Mr. Meaner. Said, yes, you have, Jake. So thank you for that, Mr. Meaner. So you've donated twice tonight. I appreciate that, brother.
Thanks, brother. I really appreciate those super chat donations. Brother, I'd like to invite you to be part of our secret brotherhood. In fact, it's so secret, I'm not allowed to even talk about it anymore, brother. In fact, if I keep talking about it and I reveal any more of this secretive material, they might chop my balls off, brother. In fact, they may have already chopped my balls off in the past, brother. I might not even have any balls, brother. I might have a vagina, an old, sweaty, old Hulk vagina. Maybe that's what Andrew Tate was talking about, brother.
All right. Whew. What am I talking about? I don't even know.
Top stories. President Trump touching down back in our nation's capital, also making a big announcement in terms of Alcatraz, reopening that prison. You can look live now here at this as Air Force One on the ground at Joint Base Andrews. We'll soon see him take those steps back to another busy work week as he lands at Joint Base Andrews. We'll see if we have any comments on some of the top stories of the day, but we're just getting more information right now about this. A post on Truth Social from President Trump calling for the reopening of Alcatraz, saying rebuild and open out.
Okay, I know there's a video where Trump actually does say that he wants to reopen Alcatraz. Let me try and find that video. Here it is. Okay.
This morning, President Trump is directing the federal government to reopen Alcatraz, the notorious former prison on the San Francisco Bay known as The Rock, considered escape-proof and the subject of multiple Hollywood films.
No one has ever escaped from Alcatraz. I'm in. Me too. And no one ever will.
Trump says he wants to reopen and expand the prison to house America's most ruthless and violent offenders.
Just an idea I've had, and I guess because the judges, so many of these radicalized judges, they want to have trials for every single, think of it, every single person that's in our country illegally, that came in illegally. That would mean millions of trials.
It comes after a new interview.
Quite frankly, it was one of the most brilliant ideas I ever thought of. Right up there with the Trump Taj Mahal in Atlantic City, right up there with Trump Steaks, right up there with Trump Trucking, right up there with Trump College. As you know, I have nothing but brilliant ideas. That is why all of my business investments thrive. Quite frankly, everyone knows I am one of the greatest businessmen who ever lived. All of my ideas turn to gold. I've got the Midas touch. So what I was thinking was we would turn the old tourist attraction into a fully functional prison once again. I was thinking we would take all of the worst, most hardened criminals from around the country and we would put them in Alcatraz. That way, if they tried to escape, they would have nowhere to go. And quite frankly, would you rather have the world's worst criminals able to escape these minimum security facilities, or would you rather have the world's most hardened criminals tucked away in the San Francisco Bay where they have no chance at hurting you or your family? I think it's a win-win for everybody. It's a win-win for America. It's a win-win for you. It's a win-win for me. So we're going to be spending millions and billions and billions into reopening Alcatraz. There you go. Looks like I got a very generous super chat came in from Doug Sims. Said, "You're on it, brother." Thank you very much, Doug Sims. I'm on it tonight. You know what? In my last stream, I was on it pretty good too. So if you missed the last stream, and after this one ends, you just can't get enough, go watch the stream I did Saturday night. I did a Saturday night stream out of nowhere, and it was pretty good. So you should go back and watch that one. I said some funny shit that I totally didn't plan that I was going to say. So definitely. And I did some Richie from Boston impressions. Like they were maybe some of my best ever. So watch my stream from Saturday night after this one, if you haven't seen it. And thank you, Doug Sims. Wow. Very, very generous from Doug Sims.
They want to have trials for every single, think of it, every single person that's in our country illegally, that came in illegally. That would mean millions of trials.
It comes after a new interview, which the president said he does not know whether every person in the U.S. is entitled to due process, as his administration pushes to deport immigrants in the country illegally.
Don't you need to uphold the Constitution of the United States as president?
I don't know. I have to respond by saying again, I have brilliant lawyers that work for me, and they are going to obviously follow what the Supreme Court said. What you said is not what I heard the Supreme Court said. They have a different interpretation.
Do you remember when I told you I was going to put that woman in jail? And people said, you never put that woman in jail. You said you were going to put the woman in jail, and then you didn't do it. Well, once I get approval to turn Alcatraz back into a fully functioning prison, that's where Hillary's going to go. I've been waiting to build the ultimate prison, and there's no other prison where Hillary belongs that I can think of than in Alcatraz. So that's when I came up with the idea that right when I finish building Alcatraz into a fully functioning prison once again. The first criminal I'm going to go round up, Hillary Clinton, that woman. I'm going to fulfill my promise. Before I leave office, mark my words, Hillary Clinton is going to be locked up in Alcatraz. You heard it here first. We're going to be running all of Alcatraz on, you guessed it, Trumptricity. So it's going to take several months to re-facilitate the entire facility with Trumptricity. So all of the bars that used to open and shut, you know, when they would let the animals out of the cage, so to speak, that's all going to be running on Trumptricity now. It's going to be far more superior. Everyone knows Trumptricity is leaner, greener, meaner, far superior in every way to electricity. So once we have the prison fully functional, working on 100% Trumptricity, we're actually going to be able to make money with this new prison system like never before. We're going to revolutionize the prison industry. All right. There you go. And you know, there's Trumpers who will be like, that's a fucking brilliant idea. Did you hear what my Lord and Savior wants to do? Trump said he's going to put all of the worst criminals in the world in Alcatraz. He going to turn that tourist attraction into a real man's prison. That's where they're going to send all of the most violent offenders. That's a great idea. I don't want them motherfuckers walking around here. I don't want them escaping these minimum security facilities. Hell no. I want them motherfuckers in over there in the San Francisco Bay, locked up in Alcatraz. That's the best idea Trump's had since he's been elected. Like, show me a MAGA who's all on board with that shit. Okay, this falls under the category, you guys. Trump opening up Alcatraz again. This falls under the category of shit that ain't never going to happen. I'm going to go ahead and say that this is 100% some bullshit, clickbait shit. And they will not even take one step towards turning that tourist attraction into an actual prison. You know why? Because that is a tourist attraction and it draws millions of visitors, which means that it generates millions of dollars in revenue. And the state of California, you know, the city of San Francisco, they're not going to be on board with turning that into a prison again. When they have tourists flooding it, right, and paying top dollar to go there as a tourist attraction. It's like part of the San Francisco economy. Tourists, you know, who visit internationally plan to see this old prison from the movies. So no, they're not going to fucking turn it into a new prison. That's stupid. I guarantee it will not happen. But they could probably trick some idiots into thinking maybe it'll happen, and they'll get you to talk about it. But yeah, this right here is just some clickbait shit from the news. Ryler05 said, I think the escape from Alcatraz thing was a hoax. I actually like that movie, even though it's a bit bland and dry by today's standards. The movie with Clint Eastwood, Escape from Alcatraz, I liked it because the elaborate process that they went through to escape and making a dummy to put in the bed from newspaper, you know, what was it, paper mache. So they had Clint Eastwood and his buddies making paper mache dummies to fool the guards, and then they would sneak through the vent systems and chip away at the, you know, behind the walls of the prison and create these holes and get away, and then they would go back into their beds, right? So apparently throughout weeks and months they like figured out how to escape this place, and then they had these what was it, these life jackets and stuff all prepared and everything. They created their own life jackets and made their own raft. And so as the movie ends, they're suggesting that maybe they got away, but they most likely died. But yeah, it could have all just been a hoax for sure. For sure, bro, the movie and them escaping and how it all went down. But it was an entertaining movie back in the day for what it was. All right. So yeah, I'm going to say this never happens. This goes in the same category as I'm going to put that woman in jail, or I'm going to build a wall.
What you said is not what I heard the Supreme Court said. They have a different interpretation.
The president also defending his tariffs, dismissing concerns that the ongoing trade war could lead to supply shortages, driving up prices for clothes, toys, and other imported goods.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying they don't need to have $30. They can have 3. They don't need to have 250 pencils. They can have 5.
China has said it's assessing potential trade talks with the U.S. Meanwhile, Trump, looking ahead, now says he will not seek a third term, despite previously saying he was not joking about running again.
Oh, now he's saying he won't seek a third term. See, I told you, ain't nobody going to do a third term. That's just for magatards to latch onto. So what's going to happen is they got Trump playing the role of the new Joe Biden. So Trump's starting to say shit that doesn't make sense. I'm starting to see people say that Trump has dementia and that Trump's too old to be president now. And so Trump's taking the position now of the guy who's running the country into the ground, right? And then when he leaves, then you can switch it back to having a Democrat president. See? So then the lefties will feel like since Trump did such a bad job, they need to make sure and go out there and vote and rally behind the next lefty liberal president. So it makes sense they can switch it right back to a lefty in 4 years and have Trump, basically burn this shit down on his way out, because he's on his way out anyway, right? So once Trump gets in there after talking about how he's going to fix everything, he basically plays the role of the guy burning the place to the ground. He's the one directly responsible for the tariffs, directly responsible for prices going up, right? So now they can turn Trump into the bad guy. So instead of Bidenomics, now it's Trumponomics. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss.
It's not something I'm looking to do. I'm looking to have 4 great years and turn it over to somebody, ideally a great Republican to carry it forward.
Trump suggesting
he's going to have 4 great years and turn it over to a Republican. Ideally, you guys. Something makes me think ideally that that's not going to happen. Something makes me think we're almost guaranteed one of the most hardcore lefty libs as the next president. Who's it going to be? We might see an old ass, like 87-year-old fucking Bernie Sanders as president. I think Bernie Sanders is going to be about 90 years old by the time this next election rolls around. People might be clamoring for old ass Bernie Sanders. Swear to God. And his name, surprisingly enough, has been being brought up more and more. So I'm here to tell you the next president is almost guaranteed to be a Democrat. And since you can bet on that shit, it might even be a money-making opportunity.
Ideally, a great Republican to carry it forward.
Trump suggesting Vice President J.D. Vance or Secretary of State Marco Rubio as his potential successors. Now back to Alcatraz, the Bureau of Prisons said it will comply.
Sounds like potential losers. These 2 dudes right here, I see these 2 dudes as losers to the next Democrat. Just being honest. In 4 years, the outrage against Trump and anyone like Trump is going to be huge as far as the lefties are concerned. They're going to be so fucking ready for a lefty to come in there. They're going to rally behind whoever the most hardcore libtard is. So I have a feeling neither of these 2 dudes are going to be the next president. In fact, these look like the type of dudes who would lose to a guy like Bernie coming back. I think Bernie would roll them dudes up. All right. And we all know it's a selection, right? So the election wouldn't be real either way. But they are going to manufacture this outrage against Trump. And you will see, at least on TV, the lefties, they're going to rally behind their candidate extra hard this next election, is what I think. And you're going to see the lefty candidate probably win by a landslide. So even though it's a fake election selection, all that, they're going to at least get a lot of sheeple who watch TV angry at Trump and feeling like a step towards the left is the right way to go. All right. Tyler 432 said Trump was in the 1900 book called The Last President. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be the last president because they've been doing this for so long. I don't see them ending it. So they've been doing this shit since like the 1700s or whatever, right? So that's a long damn time they've been doing this whole shit. And they've been swinging it back and forth. Like since I've been born, they swing it from Republican to Democrat to Republican, Democrat. They swing it back and forth like a pendulum. But they make it look like it's organically happening, like it's us, the people, who are choosing these presidents. And so I don't think that Trump is the last president. I think this is going to continue for a long time, as it's been going on for a long time. It is their chosen system. So why are they going to rip down their own system? I don't see it happening. So I know there were some MAGAs who were hoping that Trump would stay president and become like a king or whatever, but that ain't going to happen. All right. Mr. Meaner said they're getting us ready for a new young JFK, young savior type antichrist script. Possibly. Possibly, bro. I think, a character like Bernie, as simple as it is, like I think Bernie's old ass could still get a lot of people to rally behind him, like get a bunch of actual real people to come out to actual rallies. I've seen it happen. There were people who were showing up to Bernie's rallies 10 times more so than Hillary, but somehow Hillary got the nod. So back when it was Trump versus Hillary, before Hillary was chosen as the Democratic candidate, I swear to you, here in California, Bernie was way more popular. They were turning people away from Bernie's rallies. So there were sheeple showing up by the thousands for Bernie. So they could wheel his old ass out, even if he's 87 years old or whatever. And as long as he gives a really rousing speech and he has emotion in his voice, people are going to rally behind him. Anyone who's saying things, different than what Trump has been saying for the last 4 years, you're going to see the lefties rallying behind that person. For sure. And I'm not saying this is what I hope happens, right? I'm not like sitting here saying, oh, I hope Bernie could. No, this is me trying to give you guys the goods years before it happens. So there's very few channels that are going to tell you that the next president is almost guaranteed to be a liberal. And then giving you somebody like Bernie as a possibility of who it could be. The only thing that keeps me from being more sure that it's going to be Bernie is that dude will be so old in, 4 more years. All right.
As his potential successors. Now back to Alcatraz, the Bureau of Prisons said it will comply with Trump's order to reopen the prison. It was closed in 1963 because of high maintenance and supply costs.
They will not turn that into it. Did you guys know how much money that would cost to turn that into a new prison? Like everything of that prison is prehistoric as far as technology goes and shit. So to turn it back into like a modern prison would take a shitload of labor and a shitload of money. And it's a tourist attraction. So it's not like it's a old vacant island that just is sitting there. It generates money. So no way is that going to be returned to being a prison. That is a fucking stupid story.
US President Donald Trump.
But look, BBC, they're running with it as well,
Has directed officials to rebuild and reopen the notorious Alcatraz prison on an island near San Francisco's Golden Gate Bridge. The president says the jail will be used to house America's most ruthless and violent offenders. Well, he made the announcement on his Truth Social account, starting with An all-capital statement, rebuild and open Alcatraz. He said he wanted the prison to be substantially enlarged before it was put back into service. Alcatraz was shut down more than 60 years ago and turned into a museum. Previous inmates included notorious gangsters Al Capone, Mickey Cohen, and George Machine Gun Kelly. More than 1.5 million people visited the tiny island every year.
All right, here's another thing. Let me flip this past you. Is it more safe to have these criminals, the world's worst criminals, on this one island, right? This one prison, and keep all the world's most deadliest, violent criminals all together where they can make plans and plot and work together to accomplish stuff on the outside? Or is it better to have these criminals all separated like they are now? I almost think it would be better to keep the criminals separated, right? So if we just look at logistics, like you're going to round up the worst guys and stick them all together, wouldn't it be better to keep all those guys from working alongside each other? Like you're putting them in a scenario where they're like forced to work together. And then if they're forced to work together and then they like, you know, you have the worst guys in the world conducting their plans from that place. And then you got crooks and criminals on the outside, you know, doing dirty deeds, still reporting back. I don't know. You see what I'm saying? Because there's stories of criminals in prison still being able to like run gangs on the outside, still being able to, you know, give people orders and do stuff even though they're locked up. So it seems to me keeping all these criminals separated like they already are would be a better idea than fucking rounding them up and then shipping them all there. And then you have the logistics of actually picking the most hardcore criminals. Like, how do you go about choosing who's the worst? Seems like a bit of a subjective deal to be like, well, this guy murdered 20 people, but he seems like he's sorry about it. Whereas this other guy murdered only 10 people, but he seems like he might want to do it again. So which one's more dangerous? You get what I'm saying? So how are you going to go about choosing who is and is not the most dangerous criminals? And then you got to stick them on what? A bus? You got the Con Air situation. So then you have to have a fucking literal Con Air situation. Remember that terrible movie, Con Air, where they put all the worst convicts on a plane? Oh my God, they made movies about it, you guys. Nicolas Cage movies. They might actually do this. No, but seriously though, you'd have to put these guys like on an airplane and be like, all right, you already were locked up in San Quentin in California. But since you're one of the most worst criminals in the world, we're going to go ahead and take you out of San Quentin and we're going to take you to Alcatraz, which has been remodeled to be a new prison again. And they'd be like, what? Really? You're going to remove me from my cell and you're going to go stick me in that prison there out in the... Yes, we think you're so dangerous. We're going to remove you from your prison cell right now where you're under a 24-hour watch. And we're going to go stick you in this other prison. So come on, we got to put you on a bus. We got to get you there. We got to, you know what I mean? So then like some dude in like New York or whatever, a New York prison, you got to stick him on a plane and Con Air his ass so that he can get over here. You know what I mean? To the new Alcatraz. Do you guys understand how once you start stacking all this up that you got to like pick the criminals, you got to transport all of them here. You have to remodel this. It can no longer be a tourist destination. So you got to tell all the companies and everyone who's making money on the tourist side, like, fuck you. Sorry, it's going to be a prison again. And then the citizens of San Francisco and everybody who likes to use that area with their boat recreationally, you're just going to be cool with it being a prison. That's another thing. There's millions of people like who use that area recreationally and shit and use their boats and whatever. You know what I mean? Like people who live around the area. Oh, now the world's worst criminals are going to be out there. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. No way. Not happening.
More than 1.5 million people visited the tiny island every year. Let's talk to our North America correspondent, Nomia Iqbal, who joins us now from Washington. Yeah, Nomia, a huge visitor attraction. I mean, I've been there amongst millions of other people, and I guess they'll be disappointed if it is turned back into a prison as Donald Trump's calling for. How likely is that to happen, do you think?
I think it's largely unlikely. It's pretty impractical. And
Exactly.
yeah, I mean, you know, when you say Alcatraz, people think of like all the movies that have been made there: Clint Eastwood, Sean Connery. It was even in the Marvel movies, and yeah, I've been as well. It's like it's
my favorite Alcatraz movie, The Rock. I noticed if you go back and watch The Rock with what is it? Nicolas Cage, Sean Connery, right? It's still a decent movie as far as action-wise, entertainment-wise, but it is really corny. So it's one of those movies that like it reminds you of like that late 90s, early 2000s action movie thing. Like they got all that really intense old school action movie stuff that I still enjoy for a nostalgia kick. But like as far as like believability, fucking cheesy cringiness. But I would say of all the movies, The Rock, well, Escape from Alcatraz is also a good movie, but it's not as entertaining as The Rock. So go back and watch Escape from Alcatraz and The Rock. Those are the two best movies about Alcatraz. And also in The Rock, you had the military have to get involved, and there was a famous scene where they fire missiles at a part of the island and almost blow up Nicolas Cage. So there's a scene where Nicolas Cage gets like blown into the air and ends up in the water. It's like an explosion from a missile, but it doesn't kill him. It just knocks him into the water. Lucky for him. So yeah, there you go.
Amazing place to go and visit, and you can see how isolated it is in terms of, you know, off the coast of San Francisco. In terms of rebuilding it, well, I mean, remember the reason it was closed was because it was so expensive, and it would cost so much money.
So the salt in the air, it causes metal to rust, and so stuff degrades faster around the ocean, basically. And so the upkeep cost was so bad that the place was falling apart, that the cement walls, like it would get moisture inside the cement walls, that the cement would crack, and then the inmates could start picking away at it, even with little shitty tools. And so just the upkeep on a place like that is going to be tremendous. And then the rebuilding cost is going to be out of this world. Like to rebuild that into a functioning prison, who's going to pay that bill? The people who aren't going to be doing the tourist attraction anymore, are they going to pay for the bill? The city of San Francisco, California, like who's paying, like what, like who's going to pay the bill? The tremendous bill for this. This is just some clickbait. Straight up clickbait right here.
To redo. We're talking about billions here. And, you know, it's in terms of like, if that would happen, it's probably not going to. I mean, the Bureau of Prisons did release a statement just looking at it. They said, look, we will comply with all presidential orders. I should mention that Donald Trump isn't the first president to suggest potentially opening it. President Reagan considered it in 1981. But as I say, it's just massively impractical. Nonetheless, Donald Trump wants to find somewhere to house what he describes as the most dangerous and violent criminals, and Alcatraz is what he's got on his mind. But as I say, whether or not it will be open, I just think it's highly, highly unlikely, highly impractical, but it makes for a very splashy headline.
It makes for a very splashy headline. They just basically admitted it's fucking clickbait. Imagine, these other presidents, like doing the same shit that Trump has done. Like some of these presidents that people, don't look upon very favorably. Even they didn't do some of this cringy shit, Like George Bush didn't endorse Tesla the way that Trump did. Trump endorsed Tesla like a dirty used car salesman. Trump just like throws clickbait out there. I had this idea that we're going to reopen Alcatraz. And in fact, we're going to go full steam ahead. We've already had the idea approved. Like, no, you're not, dude. You're just fucking lying for clickbait all this at this point. So even some of the other presidents who people hated, right? Even they didn't do as cringy as shit as Trump did. All right. So as far as bringing back Alcatraz goes, I think that's in the same category with putting that woman in jail. I think it's in the same category with building that wall. All right. Yes, very much Sunflower. Politics has turned into a cartoon now. It's like a circus sideshow, indeed. I agree. Joe Mark said, oh my God, the fake BBC commenting on Trump. Total fake news. Yeah, just some clickbait shit. You know, like that's a Hulk Hogan story right there.
Brother, I had this idea. Rebuilding Alcatraz. We're going to put the world's most hardened criminals there, brother, like they used to.
Okay, Hulk Hogan. Sure you will. Looking for comments on this from you guys. Loose Sapphire said, it's remnants from the old world, so they fabricated his story to explain it away. Yeah, there's all those buildings that seem to be way too elaborate to have been made with the same construction at the time in certain areas. Then you got to think of all the buildings that they've torn down and whatnot. So then you go through that rabbit trail of like, were these buildings there built already, you know? And then man shows up and finds these pre-built, you know, luxurious buildings that are super intricate, far beyond anything that we could build. And then they got to craft a story to where, oh yeah, we're the ones who did that. We made those buildings, right? Then, you know, if those buildings were built by some other way, then it's like, well, how did that happen? You know, what the hell's really going on? That's where you get to the part of this of the story where you just can't go any further. Then you just start having to like come up with conjecture and make shit up in your head, right? It's like anything that happened before I was born, kind of fuzzy on that. Anything before 1983, I don't know. Because since I've been born, they've lied about a ton of shit. So that means before I was born, they probably already had lied about a ton of shit. So whenever I go back and try and figure out his story, I know I'm just looking into a bunch of shit that ain't really true, or it's like 5% true and then a bunch of bullshit to cover up the truth. Yeah. Good times. Yeah, you go down that mud flood, Tartaria, old buildings, World Fair, rabbit trail, and it leads you to the same place. There's some fucking weird shit going on a long time ago, and I can't get to the bottom of it. There's no way for me to really figure it out. Yeah, that's the end result for me if I go down any of those rabbit trails of, you know, the mud floods and the ancient buildings. Like, there's no way that people built those, so how did they get built? And what was really going on? And what's really up with those World Fair things, you know? And then you end up fuck, I just don't know. And then you can't really ever figure it out, right? You can't like go, dig up the evidence and be like, oh, yes, I've solved it. Now I know for sure. Yeah, there'd be like clay huts and log cabins, but then there'll be this one huge, gigantic, luxurious, detailed building that was completely different than all the other ones that look like shit. They're like, yeah, we just tried really hard to make a really nice building right there. But then all the other shitty buildings, we just didn't care as much. We cared a lot when we made those detailed, awesome ones. But then the shitty clay huts and the cabins, yeah, it's because we just didn't care as much about those. Right? That's the answer. All right. Trout fishing at Hood Park sending a super sticker. All right. Looks like N1 Ballers came in with a message about tacos. So I got a super sticker coming in from trout fishing. Thank you very much, trout fishing at Hood Park. I hope you catch a big, gigantic trout at Hood Park the next time you go. And then N1 Ballers asking me about Taco Tuesdays, which, funny enough, I did have tacos today. On Tuesdays, I like to go to El Pollo Loco. So there's a taco chain, or not a taco chain, but a food chain called El Pollo Loco. It's like high-end fast food, and they serve like all chicken products. And shit, one second. Let me go back and find this super chat that I missed. Fucking, and I got a couple new super chats coming in. I'll get to it in just one second. So N1 Baller says, do I eat tacos on Taco Tuesdays? So yeah, today I ate 2 tacos. They have 2 tacos for $4.99 at El Pollo Loco. So it's a California chain, El Pollo Loco. And I went there today and I got me 2 chicken avocado tacos. Here it is. I had 2 chicken avocado tacos with avocado salsa. So El Pollo Loco, it's a California chain. So if you're over in the Midwest or the East Coast, you won't have an El Pollo Loco near you. But if you ever get a chance to eat at an El Pollo Loco, out of all the fast food chains, it's higher end fast food. So it's like, it looks like a fast food joint, but the quality of the food is better than the other fast food joints for sure. So anyway, on Tuesdays, the tacos, 2 of them for $4.99 is a sweet deal, because normally those tacos are like $4 for just 1 taco. So to be able to get 2 of them for $5 is a sweet deal. So I went there today and I got me 2 tacos today on Taco Tuesday. All right. Thank you very much, N1 Ballers. I'm glad that you are interested in me eating tacos. Petro Chico said, my dog just passed. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, man. My condolences, brother. This morning. Oh, thought I'd share it with you because you shared with me. I know you understand how it feels. It was one of the hardest things that ever happened when I lost Rusty, and it ripped my heart out. And man, it was bad for like a year. And then after 2 years, I could at least talk about it without totally breaking down. But for like a year, I couldn't even, if someone brought him up, I'd have to fight tears. And so one thing I will say, when you're ready, go get you another one when you're ready. Because when you get another one, it at least for me, helped take away that pain. So I went 2 years without a dog. And anytime I saw someone with a dog, anytime I saw somebody with that relationship with their dog, that special bond, it would make me upset. So, speaking of, there he is. There's Ralph. So I had to go get Ralph to take away that depression I was feeling of not having a dog. And so when you're ready, go get another one. And if any of you have lost a dog and you're wondering if a new one will make you feel better, well, it did for me. It totally made me feel better. Now I got another doggy who's similar to my last dog, but also completely different. And so I still get to go out on my walks and do those things I used to do. And so when you're ready, brother, go get you another one. And I'm really sorry to hear that. When somebody tells me about their dog passing away, it gets me upset. There we go. Thank you very much, Petro Chico. And I know, sharing that is probably not the easiest thing. Shit, just me talking about that started to get me remembering that feeling of losing Rusty. All right. Replacement Skylights said, Jake, have you seen and what's your take on John Levy channel? He studies all these old world buildings. I have watched a few of his videos. And so, like the Tartaria, Mud Flood, World Fair type shit, I would casually watch a video here and there from random channels who cover that stuff, but I never got like into any guy to where I watched a ton of their stuff. So as far as that subject goes, I never subscribed to the guy and I never like watched a shitload of his videos, but I have seen some of his videos. And I do know who you're talking about. And I find the information to be interesting, and I can't prove how much of it is legit or not. So when it comes to like who built these extravagant buildings, when were they really built, for what reason were they built, and all that stuff, there's just no way for me to know. So when I go down those rabbit holes of like, how did they build these buildings? And what, should I listen to the story, or should I just dismiss what we're told as absolute bullshit? See what I'm saying? So once I dismiss what they tell me as being bullshit, like, I don't trust the way they explain that these buildings were built. Well, I can't tell you how they were built. So then I'm stuck. See what I'm saying? So then I got to take the word from another man. So I don't like being stuck in a position where I don't know. And then I just got to listen to some dude who's like an expert. Hi, I'm the Tartaria expert. Listen to me tell you what to think about Tartaria. Because you don't know, and nobody can know. So you have to listen to the Tartaria expert, right? So I don't like to listen to these Tartaria experts because it's almost like they might be wheeled out to be the gatekeeper for the subject, right? So there you go. All right. So we got Petro, Skylights. All right. Looks like we're caught up on super chats. All right. Looks like we got a guy who's getting banned right now. All right. some water. Regular old. Whoop. Oh my God. Oh my God. I totally can't believe I just did that. I just spilled the water trying to show you like an idiot, and I spilled it on the fucking computer. Oh my God. Oh my God. Such a moron. What was I? I was like just gonna like tilt the cup and show you, and then it spilled on to the fucking computer. Good thing there wasn't a whole cup full. It was just a little bit, and it's still working. Jesus. Of course, how did the last computer die? Spilling shit into it. Of course, I wasn't around when it happened. I had a coffee and my computer open, and then I left, and then I was hanging out with a friend. This was when I was getting the dog, and then the dogs jumped up on the counter and knocked the coffee into the computer. This is my new computer that I just spilled water on. Lovely. All right. Should be good. Being it's still working. That's good news. Hopefully all the keys work. I don't know why. It's like, oh, I'm just drinking water. See? Let me pour it on my computer to show you. Street scoops and keyboard money. I'm out of here later. Thanks, bro. Thank you. I appreciate the keyboard money. Have a good night. So I got through all of the stuff I wanted to talk about, so we can just open it up and do some open topic chat here. You guys can just ask whatever you want, so we don't have to talk about what I showed. If you guys want to talk about whatever you want, now's the time. If you have any comedic requests, let them rip. I've only been on here for like 2 hours, so I don't mind going a little longer tonight for my Tuesday night stream. So at this point, whatever you guys want to do, right? We can get as crazy as you guys want to get. I said to check and make sure all my keys were working. I was like, dude, hope everything still works. All right. Sunflower said, more keyboard money. God, if I was a scammer, I would just pretend to pour money on my keyboard and be like, oh my God, I ruined it. Can you guys help me with keyboard money? I accidentally ruined my computer. No. But I appreciate that you guys are so loving and caring of an audience that if I accidentally spill a little water on my computer, you guys start giving me super chats, keyboard money. You guys are awesome. Seriously. It should be fine. It was just a little splash and I quickly wiped it up. Everything still seems to be working, so everything should be good. Thank you, Sunflower. Super, super generous of you. And you're very welcome. And I'm glad you can make it here tonight, hanging out. Frank Castle said, have you ever thought of bringing up the flat earth topic with strangers in public? I think it would be banger content. Here's the deal with that. I have done it. The problem with man on the street shit is like, I have to have somebody film me. Like I have to have a cameraman or I got to do it myself. And so if I walk around with my phone in my hand, trying to walk up to strangers and interview them while I'm filming myself, I have to like get them in the shot with me while filming it. See what I'm saying? And a lot of people, not everyone wants to be on camera. And then if you bring up flat earth, that term, like you can get a weird reaction out of people. So going out on the street and trying to find someone to interact with who's going to give you answers that would be entertaining, right? So the time you got to spend to get that footage and then edit it up, it can work if you get the right person to give you the right answers. You can end up with a banger. The problem is if you end up like getting people who don't want to hear nothing about it, you're just going to be like pestering people. I don't want to come off as a guy who's out on the streets pestering people. And that's what they did with like Nathan Thompson and these fake flat earthers. They had them run around on the streets with bullhorns, pestering people. Earth is flat. Don't you know that the earth is flat? Hey, everybody, earth is flat, right? And then they get people annoyed and pissed off. So I don't want to end up in a situation where like I'm trying to get someone to talk about flat earth and then they get annoyed and pissed off at me. And then it looks like I'm the guy, pestering people, the annoying flat earther, trying to wake people up. See, so it all comes down to the person that you talk to and what answers you get in that moment. And it can be a positive exchange or it could be a negative exchange. And putting myself out there on the streets in those situations, it opens me up to being attacked or, have my phone knocked out of my hand, my property destroyed. So that's another one. If I have my phone there and I'm talking to someone and I ask them about flat earth and they say that flat earth is retarded, and then I start schooling them and then they get mad, they might slap my phone out of my hand or attack me. So I know what it's like to have a confrontation with somebody and then bystanders get involved. And then suddenly now you're going to be in a fist fight. So I've went to make content that starts out funny and me just trying to get funny content for my viewers. And then holy shit, now I'm going to fight some other fucking Mexican who just jumped into my video and made it about him. So one time there was a dude in a mailbox costume with a I love Gavin Newsom sign. And I thought, I'm going to get some funny footage talking to this guy. And I was, but then some Mexican jumped into the fucking frame and made it about him. And then I almost got in a fist fight. And guess what? 4 or 5 other people wanted to join the Mexican on his side. Because I was the guy confronting the mailbox man who loves Gavin Newsom. See, so I can be in a situation where the guy I'm talking to, like, he won't even be there when there's 4 other people trying to fight me who weren't even involved in the fucking thing that I wanted to do. So yeah, I've had too many situations happen where I'm like, shit, that could have went way bad. I could have got jumped. I could have got arrested. So I don't want to end up getting arrested by being some annoying YouTuber pestering people on the streets. I don't want to get attacked. And so by trying to open people up to these topics on the streets, you open yourself up to all sorts of shit going wrong. So I know what it's like to get that good footage of the girl who actually listens to me and has a conversation, and I open her mind up, and oh, have you ever thought of this? No. And I know what it's like to have people like, I don't know who you are. Get the fuck away from me. Get away from me, weirdo. Right? And like I said, they had these shills like Nathan Thompson go around and pester people pretending to be flat earthers. So I don't want to catch the brunt of some aggravated person who thinks like all flat earthers are retards who are trying to annoy you and pester you. You see what I'm saying? So if it's already in someone's mind that like that's the most retarded thing ever, why do I want to be the guy to bring it to them so that they can go off on me? So I have done man on the street shit, and people who've been watching me since 2016, 17, they remember some of that content when I used to do that stuff. Now, I have considered if I was to get a cameraman and like go to an event and try and like ask people questions and get certain answers and edit it up a certain way. If I was to plan it out and do all that, I could get monster view counts. There's people who go to festivals and talk to everyone at the festival. For instance, if I was to go to the meeting of the Juggalos and I was to have a professional cameraman and do like a really good video about me going to the meeting of the Juggalos, and then I talk to like the craziest Juggalos I can find who are high out of their mind and doing whippets and shit, and then I start partying with them and become part of the Juggalo celebration, and then I paint my face like a Juggalo and I'm like, I'm a Juggalo now. I could get a shitload of views if I was to make that video. But then I gotta fucking go there and do all that shit. You know what I mean? And I gotta fucking edit that video and do all that fucking work. And then I'm like, do I really want to go fucking do all that just for a big video count? That video's already been made. You get what I'm saying? So there's stuff I know I could go do out on the streets that would get bigger view counts. But that also requires like a lot more time and effort. And then there's the headaches of, when shit goes wrong by doing that. So there are channels that get huge view counts going out to festivals and talking to people or antagonizing people. But you can also get jumped doing that. So like another guy who makes content doing crazy shit out, at festivals and out on the street shit. Danny Mullen. He's gotten punched in the face and jumped a few different times. This Danny Mullen character who goes to, different places and starts shit. Or anyone who's like, oh, I'm going to go to a liberal rally, but dressed as a Trump supporter. I would never do that just for clicks. So I'm not going to go pretend to be a MAGA supporter at some libtard rally just to trigger them, just to get the footage and get clicks, because I know I could get attacked. So if I was to go pretend to be a MAGA at some, liberal march, I know the chances of me getting attacked goes through the roof. And do I want to get jumped? Do I want to get like physically assaulted just to bring you guys footage? Nah, no, I don't. I don't want to spend a single second in a hospital or a single second in discomfort from any libtard who thinks I'm a MAGA-tard. See what I'm saying? So those videos where people are like, I went dressed as a MAGA to this liberal march. Yeah, they're going to get a ton of views when they do those type of videos, and they're going to get lots of triggered reactions, and those reactions draw huge view counts. But the chance that you're going to get socked in the face, or somebody will sock you in the back of the head, throw a rock at you, spit on you or whatever, it starts to go up tremendously. And I just ain't trying to get jumped or arrested or any of that, in any major city, they can manufacture a, liberal rally. So every major city is considered to be liberal. Like if you look at Republican states, the red states, there's usually one major city, two major cities that comprise all of the liberal voters, right? So you might have like, a bunch of right-wing white people in Minnesota, but then in Minneapolis, you have this hardcore liberal voters. See what I'm saying? So the people, in the tiny towns in Minnesota aren't like the people who are in the heart of Minneapolis. Just like here in California, the people who live in the hills, the people who have farms, they aren't like those schmoozy motherfuckers over in LA. They aren't like those libs who live in San Francisco. So California people range tremendously. You have people who love Trump who live in California. You have cowboys, cow ranchers, cattle ranchers, chicken farmers who identify themselves more with conservative values who live here in California. But people consider California to be this liberal hellhole. But that's only if you go to the big cities. Once you get out of the big cities, it's not nearly as liberal. In fact, it's more conservative. So there's a lot of country hillbilly places in California where there's Trump flags and cowboys. Even here in California, swear to God. Once you get out of the big cities, get into the mountains, shit changes drastically. Rose, you know what I'm talking about. There's still plenty of people in California who love Trump and have Trump signs on their lawn and drive jacked up pickup trucks and shit. There's cowboys who, actually like live on a farm and fucking are working around cows and are literal cowboys, right? Who live in California and they love Trump, but they're going to be overshadowed by those liberal voters in the major cities. So because there's a concentration of libs in the major cities, people look at like California as a whole, like that's how it is. And it isn't. It really isn't. In fact, when you're in those, when you're in some of those mountain towns and stuff, when you're in some of the hillbilly towns, it's nothing like San Francisco or LA. And one baller says, can you do Ghostface calling Sydney impression? I have no idea what you even want. Ghostface? Who's Ghostface? Calling Sydney? Are you talking about like the movie Silence of the Lambs? I don't even know what you're talking about. That's a really weird request, bro. No one's ever asked me to do that. In fact, I'm confused. If you make a request and I'm totally confused by what you're asking me, it's usually a bad sign. Oh, from Scream. Dude, I'm glad somebody said that. I would have never guessed that. Sydney, the girl Sydney from Scream. Hi, Sydney. Do you want to play a game? Who was the killer in Friday the 13th? It was Jason. Wrong. It was Jason's mom. Now you're gonna die, Sydney. No. That's about the most. I haven't watched the Scream movies in a long time, and I stopped watching the sequels. I watched the Scream 2, where like Jackie from Roseanne was one of the fucking killers. And I was like, this is stupid. So I didn't even bother with Scream 3 or 4 or 5. So I probably haven't watched one of those Scream movies in maybe 15 years or something. Swear to God, I'm not the type that goes back to watch old Scream movies. And so it's probably been 15 years at least. So that's just my memory.
Hi, Sydney. Do you want to play a game? Do you like horror movies? Who was the killer in Nightmare on Elm Street? Very good. It was Freddy Krueger. Now, who was the killer in Friday the 13th?
It was Jason.
Wrong. It wasn't Jason. It was Jason's mom. So now you're gonna die, bitch.
There you go. Scream. The best I can remember. Yeah, at first I had no clue. If somebody in chat wouldn't have said Scream, I wouldn't have fucking guessed. Like when you said Ghostface, I was like, is he talking about some rapper, Ghostface Killer? Because I know there's a rapper named Ghostface Killer, but I don't know any of his songs, and I don't know what he sounds like. So I hope he's not wanting me to do an impression of Ghostface Killer calling the city of Sydney, Australia? Does he want me to do Ghostface Killer calling the city in Australia? That's how stupid I am. I was wondering how I was going to pull that off. All right. It looks like I missed one from Davey D. My bad, Davey D. Telling everyone to hit the thumbs up. So yeah, if you guys had fun tonight, and if you're still having fun, hit the thumbs up. Looks like I missed a super chat from Davey D telling everyone to hit the thumbs up. So at this point in the stream, you guys should totally hit the thumbs up button. In fact, if you hit the thumbs up button, I'll keep being funny for you. I'll keep the stream going. But if not, then I'm shutting it off and everyone goes to bed. That's it. So what's it going to be? Thumbs up, we continue having fun? Or no thumbs up, I shut the stream off, everyone's life ends. What's it going to be, y'all? It looks like I missed one from Frank Castle as well. So while you're in the middle of hitting the thumbs up, I'm going to go ahead and bring up Frank Castle's super chat, who says, or just play devil's advocate and reinforce mainstream science so us awake can laugh at them. Ralphie for cameraman. Yeah, see, trying to find somebody, who's like going to follow me around and be a cameraman, that's like a job, they'd have to want to dedicate, 4 or 5 hours probably. If we were going to go somewhere and try and get this footage, I would need a dedicated cameraman. And then, there's all the people who aren't going to want to be on camera or just going to give stupid answers or whatever. And so you really got to spend several hours to get that quality footage when you finally find someone who gives comedic answers or whatever, So ideally, if I was to go out on the streets and have a cameraman, I got to find somebody who's going to give me answers that are either comedic or they're argumentative, and then I can turn it into comedy by like debating with them. See what I'm saying? So I have to either find somebody who's like, an old person who's going to give me funny answers, or a drunk person, or somebody who's argumentative that I can debate with and create some drama. But it comes down to finding the right person to give me the reaction, right? So you could go out for 3-4 hours and try and, create this, video, but just not get those reactions that you're looking for. And then you end up with a lackluster video either way. So So like I said, this is one of those deals where, like, if you plan this whole thing out and you have a cameraman and you go out and you put in the time, you can be rewarded with amazing reactions, and those type of reactions could be edited and you can turn it into this video that gets hundreds of thousands of views. But I just don't do that because I'm here in my office alone. And I'm always waking up wondering what I should do. Like each day I wake up, what should I do today? Should I make a video? Should I do a live stream? Oh, wait, it's Tuesday. I have to do a live stream. All right. Thank you, Frank Castle, for the donation. Replacement Skylights says, are you going to make any more parody songs? I love Return of the Doink and No Satellites in Space. Are you Weird Al's son? I am not Weird Al Yankovic's son. Not related to Weird Al at all. I just like to sing my own funny versions of songs. And so I've been doing that since I was a kid. And so even before I knew who Weird Al was, I used to like to replace lyrics of songs with my own funny lyrics, you know. And then back in the 80s and 90s, when I was a kid, you didn't have the internet to look up lyrics. So a lot of times you would just sing songs wrong for years. And then you would finally have a friend who would tell you, like, it's not You Give Love a Band-Aid. It's You Give Love a Bad Name. So when I was a little kid, I thought Bon Jovi was singing Shot Through the Heart and You're to Blame. You Give Love a Band-Aid. Because when I was a little kid, I used to get hurt. And then my mom would put a Band-Aid on my boo-boo. When I'd get a cut, I'd get a Band-Aid. So the first time when I was a kid, when I heard Shot Through the Heart, You're to Blame, You Give Love a Band-Aid, I was like, yeah, you give love a Band-Aid. So when I was a kid and I would sing what I thought were the lyrics, I was already doing parody versions without even knowing it. Right? I'd have my family laughing at me. It's not Band-Aid. It's Bad Name. I'm like, I like Band-Aid better. I'm going to keep singing it my way. So I've been doing parody songs ever since I was a little kid, even before I knew who Weird Al Yankovic was. And as far as am I going to do more parody songs? Maybe next football season, I can come up with another song to go along with the rigged football content. Someone suggested that I take Will Smith's song Getting Jiggy With It and turn it into Getting Riggy With It. And I said, hey, that's not a bad idea, but I never did. I never ran with it. So it's on the table that I could take Getting Jiggy With It, na 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 na, Getting Jiggy With It, and turn it into Getting Riggy With It, na 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 na. But it's not really that funny. Changing Getting Riggy With It or Jiggy With It to Riggy With It. It's not really that funny. So I just never did. But that was an option. So I do need to come up with some new parody songs for the NFL rigged content because Return of the Doink is getting a little old now. It's still classic, but it's like 3 years old now. So yeah, I should try and come up with a new parody song for the strictly for the NFL rigged content. And as far as No Satellites in Space, that was just a funny song that I wrote. It wasn't a parody. So I wasn't like taking an existing song and then changing the words. No Satellites in Space is my original song. And it's meant to be a funny, catchy song. It's just more comedy based and satirical, but it's still meant to be a fun, song that's based on something that's true. So that one's not so much a parody tune as just a funny song. So yeah, my plan is to create more music, and it has been a plan for a while. Problem is, the songs that I've made in the past, I had help, and I don't have that same help anymore. I don't have the same friends that I used to for different reasons. And so if it's just me who's in charge of making the music by myself, that means I have to like do all the turning of the knobs and all of the instruments and everything myself. And that creates a bit of a problem because I never had to do it that way before. So I always had help when I recorded. So I had in the past, I had my bandmate, Drew, when I was in a band. I had my bandmate Drew. He was the recording guy. And I was the guy who would sit there next to him while we would record and point and say, make that louder, turn my voice up more, turn the drums down. You see what I'm saying? So I would be the guy who told the dude how to make the song sound better, but I never learned how to fucking turn the knobs and record all the stuff myself. So as I sit here, I don't even know how to record myself properly today in 2025. I have to go back and relearn from scratch how to record myself. So that's one of the main issues. I don't have any new music is I have to buy all new shit and learn how to use all of it from scratch. I have the music ability in me. I can sing, I can play bass. I can have friends play guitar and send in, a guitar shit for me and whatever. So I could have people help me, send in their instruments and whatnot. But if I'm going to be the one who asks if I can make the music, I got to buy the shit and then learn how to use it. And I haven't done that yet. So that's one of those things that's on my list to do. But like everything, I get really lazy and then I don't do it. So I need to make new music. I should. It's on my list. But that involves me having to buy everything. Which also on my list, buy a new microphone for podcasting. Also on my list, buy a better camera. Also on my list, buy background stuff. So it's like I have to buy so much shit. And since I know I have to buy so much shit, I know that the whole channel needs to be revamped. Like I'm doing everything ass backwards, the old outdated way. Knowing I have to like update everything, I've just been dragging my feet. I'm like, oh God, I literally have to revamp everything. So recording new music is on the list. Hopefully I get to it one day before I die. Before I die, I hopefully will have new music for you guys. So yeah, not just the music, but everything. I need like this badass microphone right here that makes my voice sound all chocolatey and amazing and doesn't miss anything that I say. And then I need, like a couple new cameras. And then I need the little wireless microphones for when I go out and about and do stuff. All this shit that I need. Holy shit. There's thousands of dollars worth of equipment. And then when I buy it, I don't even know how to use it. So then I got to watch YouTube videos to teach me how to use all the shit that I just bought and don't know how to use. Which is always super fun to have to sit and watch a YouTube video to teach you how to use shit that you just bought. So fun, which is why I've been dragging my feet. I'm always like, yeah, next week I need to do that. So when I get around to doing it, it's going to be good. I've never released shitty music. So whenever I do get around to making music and I finally do release a new song, it's going to be good. I just can't tell you when it's going to be. Mr. Meaner said, prank call some of our favorite shills. Not as Jake might be good content. One time I did call NASA. I called like all of NASA's different phone numbers. Did some like prank call shit. But I don't want to do anything that like YouTube can, say, oh, that's a violation of our terms to fucking do that or whatever. I don't know. So I don't want to do anything that can get me into any sort of trouble, you know what I mean? And get my videos demonetized or taken down or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And when Baller says, do I do a Pennywise impression? One sec. Looks like I'm missing a few super chats. Let me catch up and pull them all up here. Can you do a Pennywise impression? Old and new version. So I saw the classic movie It, but I never watched the new version of It. So I only know the old version. The one where he would go, "What's your name?" "Georgie." "Hi, Georgie. Do you want to come down here and play with me, Georgie?" My mom said I'm not supposed to talk to strangers." "Well, my name's Pennywise, and you're Georgie, so now we're not strangers anymore. You want to come down here and play? They all float down here, Georgie." I guess so." "Look, I've got your boat, Georgie. You want to come down here and play with me? They all float down here. They all float down here." Ah! There you go. See, I had to go off memory. I haven't seen that movie in probably like 20 years. So I had to fucking off memory remember what he sounded like. So it's not like I recently watched the movie It, and I never watched the new one. So that's like me, like off of fucking old ass cruddy memories tucked away in my brain. Man, you come up with some different suggestions, and one. Nobody else has ever asked me to do a Pennywise impression, so, or the ghost face calling Sydney. So you're coming up with shit that I've never even tried before from movies that I haven't seen in like 20 years, bro. All right. But thanks nonetheless. I think I kind of pulled it off. So you can't be too disappointed. All right. Oh shit, there's one that says, can I do Neil deGrasse interpreting Stephen Hawking? Said from Doxological Thinker. All right. So super chat that I missed a while ago. Doxological Thinker. Sorry about that. Doxological Thinker. Let me scroll back a long ways and try and pull it up. Here it is. Can you do Neil deGrasse Tyson interpreting Stephen Hawking? One of the reasons that makes the cosmos so interesting is the fact that we don't know all that there is to know. And so if you really want to be honest about how much we don't know, then you have to realize what man doesn't know is, of course, the essence of science itself. Because science is asking the question, why does this happen? And if man doesn't know, that's the whole reason why science exists. So when we're faced with the cosmos, you have to ask yourself, if it looks flat, how far do you have to go before it looks curved? So when you look out the airplane window, that looks flat. It looks flat. That's only because you're this far above the curved surface. All right, I'm getting a little off here. I was trying to remember something that Neil deGrasse Tyson said, and then I started trailing off about some how the earth looks flat shit. I need to watch something that Neil deGrasse Tyson has said recently, and I'll do a better job. Let me pull up a recent Neil deGrasse Tyson clip, in fact. I need to work on that a little more. Typically, if I listen to somebody and then I do the impression, I do it a little better.
You like crazy astronomical facts? I got one for you. The energy created in the center of the sun takes between 10 and 100 million years to get out of the sun. Upon exiting the sun, it then travels the 93 million miles to Earth in 8 minutes and 20 seconds. So that was a long, hard-fought journey to reach us. Just saying. The sun, busy at work, keeping us warm and anybody else.
Do you want to know a fact about the sun? It takes anywhere from 10 years for the sun's energy to reach Earth 93 million miles away. So it's safe to say the sun is a busy body. I like when he does his laugh, like when he cracks himself up, even though he didn't say anything funny. This guy is known for cracking himself up, even though he doesn't say anything that's slightly funny at all.
Who uses sunlight like all the other planets of the solar system. And aliens who are possibly looking out into the galaxy, wondering if around a star that we call the sun has a planet that might have life.
So, you have to wonder if there are aliens, extraterrestrial beings, who are sensing this same sun energy that it takes 10 to 100 years to reach us. So we're actually sharing the same energy with extraterrestrials right now. Just thinking about the fact that I'm sharing energy with an extraterrestrial. Isn't that the most mind-blowing thing that my eyebrows have ever seen? Don't you like the way he fucking does his eyebrow shit? Like he's got... I always say that Neil deGrasse Tyson has the most scientific eyebrows of any astrophysicist. He's got the most scientific eyebrows of any black man, hands down. Right? So, one of the craziest things about the cosmos is the fact that it takes 100 years or more for the Earth's sunlight to reach us from 93 million miles away.
So there's about 1% difference in DNA between humans and chimps. Yet we like to think of ourselves as highly superior intellectually to the chimp.
Right.
Maybe the difference in our brain power is as small as that 1% indicates.
You know what? I think he's right. He does kind of look like he is a descendant of a monkey. I have to agree. He totally looks like the descendant of a monkey. You know, one of the most interesting things is that man is only 1% different than a monkey. And that is why I look so much like a monkey. So when people try and make fun of black people by calling them monkeys, I actually don't have a problem with it because I know that I'm 1% away from actually being a monkey. There you go, doxological thinker. All right. I think I should be caught up on old super chats that I missed. Now I can get to the new super chats. Okay. Lemming in a Shiny Metal Box says, since you mentioned it, any impressions from Silence of the Lambs might be amusing. Superb stream, Sir Jake. Well, the only thing that I can remember is the line about eating their liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti. But that's because they reused that line in Dumb and Dumber. God, I'm gonna have to watch a video clip so that I don't shit the bed on this impression. All right.
Good morning.
Dr. Lecter, my name is Clarice Starling. May I speak with you?
You're one of Jack Crawford's, aren't you?
I am, yes.
May I see your credentials?
Certainly.
1 week. You're not real FBI, are you?
I'm still in training at the academy.
Jack Crawford sent a trainee to me.
Hello, Clarice. Have you come here to give me your liver? Because I'd like to eat your liver, Clarice, with a side of fava beans and a nice Chianti. Hello, Clarice. Hello.
Yes, I'm a student.
You're a student, Clarice?
I'm here to learn from you.
Would you like to learn from me, Clarice?
Maybe you can decide for yourself whether or not
Maybe I will decide for myself.
I'm qualified enough to do that.
I don't think you're qualified to do that, Clarice.
That is rather slippery of you, Agent Starling.
That is rather slippery of you, darling Clarice. Now, pull down your pants and expose your ass. I'm going to eat you from the inside out.
Sit, please.
All right. I don't know. I've never been asked to do this guy's impression either.
He said, I can smell your cunt.
I see. I myself cannot. You use Evian skin cream.
I can tell, Clarice, that you're using a skin cream to cover up the scent of your smelly, wretched cunt. Clarice, I want to eat your wretched cunt with a side of Chianti and fava beans.
All right. There you go. I think that suffices. Right? Rose liked it. Rose's sister, Jonna, liked it. You can tell these are sisters because they both use the same laughing emoji and they both think that the same stuff is funny. And they're both my mods. And they both like me. So that's cool. All right. And then another guy asked if I can do a George Floyd impression, which is a really weird thing to ask. George Floyd impression. Shit. For whatever reason, it's like I can't find it. Oh, here it is. Joey Anthony said, can you do a George Floyd impression? So I don't know what to do with this, bro. Like, do you want me to say, I can't breathe? Yeah. Right? Isn't that what most people would say? Is this, I can't breathe? So the guy didn't have any sort of personality or anything about him that I'm going to remember or be able to like latch onto. I would have to like pull up a video of him talking and then try and do an impression, because George Floyd, that's not like a recognizable voice or character or anything. People just remember the fact that they were told that he died, you know, so he's more famous for being involved in the psyop than his actual voice. But I can try and find a video of him if you want. All right.
Saw my homegirl Nikki from South London lost her son, man. Our young generation is clearly lost, man. Clearly lost, man. Like I don't even know what to say no more, man. Like, you youngsters just going around, just busting guns in crowds, kids.
You know what? I might be able to work with this. I never really watched a video of him just talking like this. And so, you know what? Maybe I could do something with this. I've got a deep voice, and he's got a deep voice, you know. So I might be able to work with it.
Saw my homegirl Nikki from South London lost her son, man. Our young generation is clearly lost, man. Clearly lost, man. Like I don't even know what to say no more, man. Like, you youngsters just going around, just busting guns in.
Man, this young generation clearly lost right now, man. I don't even know what to say anymore, man. You got these youngsters going around here pulling guns, shooting folks, robbing folks, running the streets. Man, I don't even know what to say about this no more, man. You got these youngsters out here pulling caps back, busting a cap in a motherfucker ass, man. I don't even know what I be talking about right now, man.
Crowds, kids getting killed, you know, and it's clearly the generation.
You got kids up in the crowd, man. Kids getting killed up in there, man. You got youngsters out there pulling guns, peeling caps back, man.
After us, man. They're so lost, man. You know, man, I came back to Houston and told me, yeah, Floyd, that young truth, man, right there, because he can bust a gun. Man, I knew it was crazy. Then I ain't saying this here, man. No.
Man, that's when I knew it was crazy, man. Talking about bust a gun, man. When you talk about, man, the youngster around here pulling out guns, acting crazy, man. That's when I knew this was out of hand. These youngsters out here lost. You know what I'm saying, man? They gotta find God. They gotta find peace within themselves. These fools be running the streets. They got their pants around their ankles, right? They be putting guns up in their underwear. They be putting drugs up in their buttholes, man.
You know what I'm saying? And condoning this, bro. You know what I'm saying? And like half of them young shooting them guns go home and they knees shaking at night. But they don't show it to nobody because, you know, they ain't tough then. Hey, man, come on home, man. One day it's going to be you and God. You going up and you going down. You know what I'm saying?
all y'all little homie acting like you tough because you got a gun. One day you gonna be staring at God. You ain't gonna have your gun. We'll see how tough you are when you come face to face with God, the creator, son. You ain't got your gun. You be staring in the eyes of God, the Lord, my Savior Christ.
Come on home, man. One day it's gonna be you going up or you going down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. There you go. I actually pulled it off. Now, when you first made the request, I was like, ugh, George Floyd. Like, what did he ever say besides I can't breathe, right? So now that you asked me to do it, and I went and looked up the video, he actually does have a pretty recognizable voice. And being as I have a deep voice, I think I pulled it off pretty good, right? I think I did. Pulled it off pretty swell. Must say so myself. Gone with the Wind said, Jake, could you make an impression of JFK Jr. announcing new Jabarooski for crocodile flu made of bull sperm? JFK Jr.? I don't know how to do JFK Jr. I do RFK. Do you mean RFK? I do a spot on RFK. In fact, I think this impression will be better if I do RFK. I'm going to guess that you meant RFK instead. So let's go ahead and do RFK announcing the new Jabaroo for crocodile flu made of bull sperm.
I have been telling everybody that I am not, I repeat, I am not anti-vax. I don't know where anyone came up with the idea that I am anti-vaccine, because I am not. My kids are vaccinated and I am vaccinated as well. So I don't know where that rumor got started. But one thing I can tell you is there's astounding new research that is taking the place in the vaccine research development. And right now, there is a new flu that could possibly be the beginnings of a new pandemic as we know it, the next pandemic. And so we're already looking into how we're going to fight this new pandemic. And researchers are already hard at work to research this new vaccine that they're using bull semen to create. They're using stem cells and bull semen, and they're splicing the semen with the cells, and they're going to create a new hybrid RMNA vaccine that is going to revolutionize the vaccine market. I don't know where these rumors that I'm anti-vaccine came from. Clearly, I freaking love vaccines, and I'm going to be one of the first to get the new RMNA sperm vaccine that's going to cure the crocodile flu next spring. All right. There you go. RFK. Because that would be much better than me trying to do JFK Jr. There you go. RFK whipping out the bull semen. Some guy with a name I can't pronounce said, "Ha, I'm trying to drink coffee." Yeah, bro, I ain't going to let you finish your coffee. In fact, it's my goal to make the coffee come out your nose and your butt. Just kidding. Or am I? All right. That's my coffee joke. I want coffee to come out of your butt. Just kidding. Or am I? Yep. Made it up just now. Imagine if I showed up to do stand-up comedy
And that was my main joke for a crowd that had no idea who I was. All right. Frank Castle said, what do you think of attractive white women with black men? I see it often where I'm at and recently been seeing them with Indians. Hey, man, you know, I've seen it in all combos. I've seen women with like short, ugly looking Mexican dudes, you know, and I was like, what? How did he get her? Yeah, so I've seen some ugly dudes, you know, pull some good looking women. That's nothing new. So whenever you see a combo that doesn't make sense, you know, you always got to wonder why. And then, you know, some women just like black men, their swag, you know. So some black guys have this swag, and white women fall for it because they think it's more manly and macho than the geeky white guys, you know. So if there's like I notice older fat white chicks, if they get the attention of a younger black man, they're smitten. So I've noticed the older, fatter white ladies, when they go black, they're like, oh, these younger black guys with their big dicks, like they give me much better attention than these old white dudes who are my age. So yeah, the you know, white chicks who are into the black swag thing, yeah, that's just one of those deals. Now there's other white women who would never touch a black guy. So it can all just depend. In fact, there's probably a couple of my mods here who are women who would never touch a black man. And they have every right to feel that way. And it's not racist. Frank Castle, thank you very much for the super chat donation. Yeah, Cactus Jack, they like to make it look cool to be mixed. So like, what's his name? Patrick Mahomes, Mr. Mixed QB, right? And then he's got a mixed family, right? You get all these half white, half black mixed kids. And that's like becoming the new norm. That's like celebrated. So eventually everyone's just going to be a mixed goo back. I think South Park did an episode where if it's like they showed how everyone becomes like this tan colored person who says Marklar, I think. Or goo, they become goo backs. I forget what that's. There was a South Park episode how basically the mixed breeding, everyone just becomes the same skin tone. They all look the same. So when it comes to Mexicans, I like their food. They have good food, but I don't like their music. Not a fan of their music. I would like to eat their food, but not have to be subjected to any of their music. So, being I live in California, I have eaten many, 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 many tacos, many, many, many burritos. I started eating at taco trucks when I was a kid. So like I started going to taco trucks and then realizing that is higher quality, better food than Taco Bell. So when I was young, being I'm in California, I got a taste for those carne asada truck tacos. It was like a dollar for a taco for the longest time, but now they're all like $2 a taco or more. But back in the day, you could get dollar tacos, you know, so you could get 5 tacos for $5. And they were all asada tacos with homemade salsa. And they would cook the tortillas and lard. And man, they're great. So they still have taco trucks that are still good, but the cost is now like $2 a taco or more, which is a lot. So the tacos are small. If you ever get the carne asada truck tacos, they're small, but they're really tasty. But it's tough to pay $2 to $3 for a little tiny taco that used to be $1. It used to be the perfect price, and now it's like they're too expensive. But anyway, I like Mexican food, so I'm totally a sucker for Mexican food, but not so much their music. In fact, Mexican music, most people would agree, sucks donkey balls. So if I was to ask a black guy, hey, bro, what do you think of Mexican music? He's going to be like, that shit's whack, man. And I'm going to be like, yes, my black brother, I agree. So one of the things that me and black people totally agree on is that Mexican music sucks donkey balls. Me and black people totally agree. And I don't really know any Asians who like Mexican music. Come to think of it, I don't really know anybody who likes Mexican music except for fucking Mexicans. It seems like it was tailor-made just for them, and everyone else is supposed to be like, shut that shit off, right? Something about being a Mexican, your ears hear it differently. It's like, you're like, if you are Mexican. But if you're not Mexican and you're white and you hear, it's like, shut that shit off. See, that's the difference. White, Mexican, go figure. Go figure. Kevin Arnold from the Wonder Years said, good story. Tip from happy subscriber. Thank you, Kevin Arnold from the Wonder Years. I hope you and Winnie Cooper live happily ever after. What would you do if I sang, had a tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me? All right. I do that every time Kevin Arnold sends a super chat. And he doesn't mind. Because he's totally not Fred Savage. He's not Kevin Arnold from the Wonder Years. But every time he sends a super chat, I call him Kevin Arnold from the Wonder Years. And he keeps sending super chats. So I think he likes it. You're welcome, Kevin Arnold. Winnie! But Winnie, I saw you with that other guy. Like, do you want to be with him or do you want to be with me? Kevin, I don't know. But Winnie, I saw you kissing that dude. So who do you want to be with? Do you want to be with me or do you want to be with him? Kevin, I don't know. That was like every episode. Okay, here's the deal. Selena doesn't count as Mexican music. That's like saying Santana is Mexican music. No. Mexican fucking stations don't play Selena songs and Santana songs. They play if I put on the radio right now and I put on a Mexican station, there will not be a Selena song coming on, nor will there be a Santana song. No, that's not the Mexican music I'm talking about. I'm talking about all that other shit that comes on the radio stations. And Mexicans get 50 radio stations. You know how many classic rock stations I get? Maybe one or two. Maybe one classic rock station for the white guy. Mexican guy gets 50 stations to choose from. Literally 50. And all of them. That's what every fucking song sounds like if you listen to a Mexican station. It ain't Selena. So quit fucking bringing up Selena or Santana when I say Mexican music sucks fucking donkey dicks. Mexicans don't listen to Selena. You know how I know that? She don't come on their stations. Anytime I'm subjected to a fucking Mexican radio station, it ain't a Selena song. Understand? Somebody tried to pull that shit in the comments section. Well, what about Santana? Yeah, Santana comes on the classic rock station and the contemporary pop station. Meow, 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 wow, now, meow, now, wow, no, 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 wow. Give me your heart, make it real, or let's forget about it. They ain't playing that on the fucking Mexican station. Get real. That doesn't count as Mexican music. So don't fucking bring it up. I'm just kidding around, you guys. I'm not actually angry. Just having some fun. Having some fun. And this all started with tacos. Somebody brought up tacos, and then it ended up with me mouthing a Santana solo and saying that that ain't Mexican fucking music, so don't you dare call it that. Because someone brought up tacos. Or I did. I don't know. Whatever. Jonna says, hi, Jake. Is it possible to sing or rap in a Punjab accent a song of your choice? Thank you. Just waking up in the morning, got to thank God. I don't know, but today seems kind of odd. No barking from the dog, no smog, and mama cook a breakfast with no hog. I got my grub on. I did not pig out. I finally got a call from a girl that I want to dig out. Hook it up for later as I hit the door. Thinking will I leave another 24? I've got to go because I've got me a drop top, and if I hit the switch, I can make the ass drop, my friend. Had to stop at a red light, looking in my mirror, not a jacker in sight. Everything is all right, my friend. I got a beep from Kim, and she can fuck all night, my friend. Call up the homie and I'm asking y'all, which park are y'all playing basketball? You get me on the courts and I am trouble. Last week I fuck around and make a triple-double. Freaking N-words every way like MJ. I cannot believe today was a good day, my friend. Today was a good day. Today was a good day. There you go. Drove to the pad and hit the showers. I did not even get no static from the cowards. Cause just yesterday, those fools, they tried to blast me. I saw the police and they drove right past me. I even saw the lights on the Goodyear blimp and it said my Punjab ass was a pimp. I did not even have to use my AK. I must say that it was a good day, my friend. There you go. Little Punjab ice cube for that ass. All right, now I got to do Lottie Dottie as well. I may as well do Lottie Dottie. And on and on and on she kept on. This bitch been around before my mother was born. I said, you're up. I gave her a hit. I said, you cannot have me. I am too young for you, bitch. She says, no, you're not. And then she starts crying. I said, I am 19. And she says, oh, stop lying. I said, I am. Go ask my mother. And with your wrinkled pussy, I cannot be your lover. TikTok, you don't stop today. TikTok, you don't quit, bitch. All right. 1, 2, 3, and to the 4. Kabir and Nasheed, we are knocking at your fucking door, ready to make an entrance, so back on up, because you know, my friend, we about to rip shit up. You give me the microphone first, I will burst like a bubble. Compton and Long Beach together, my friend, you know you are in trouble. All right. There you go. Brain Freeze says, can you sing TikTok by Keisha in Spherage's voice? If not, a song of your choice. I don't know if I know that song, buddy. Let me pick a different song to sing in Spherage's voice, because I don't know any Kesha songs. I'm a man and I'm white and I don't listen to Kesha. So, see, the thing was, when I was a little kid, I used to listen to gangster rap. That's why I know these old gangster rap songs, because when I was a little kid, I used to like Snoop Dogg and Ice Cube and Tupac. So I know all those old songs. So I can rely on my memory. But Kesha, I never listened to Kesha. So don't know any Kesha songs. So it would suck if I tried to do any Kesha songs. But let me think of a different. Give me a different Spherage song that you want me to sing, and it would probably be funnier. Maybe like Barbie Girl or something might be funny in a Spherage voice. How about Barbie Girl in Spherage's voice? I don't know. First thing I could think of off the top of my head that might be funny. Let's just give it a try. Hi, everyone. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Ken. You want to go for a ride? Sure, Ken. Jump in. I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. Life in plastic. It is fantastic. You can brush my hair and undress me everywhere. Imagination. Life is your creation. Come on, Barbie. Let's go party. I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. Life in plastic. It's fantastic. You can brush my hair, undress me everywhere. Imagination. Life is your creation. I'm a blonde bimbo girl in a fantasy world. Dress me up, make it tight. I'm your dolly. You're my doll. Rock and roll. Feel the glamour in pink. Kiss me here, touch me there. Hanky panky. You can touch, you can play. If you say I'm always yours. I am a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. Come on, Barbie. Let's go party. Make me walk, make me talk. Do whatever you please. I can act like a star. I can beg on my knees. Come jump in, bimbo friend. Let's do it again. Hit the town, fool around. Let's go party. You can touch, you can play. You can say, I'm always yours. You can touch, you can play, you can say, I'm always yours. All right. There you go. Goatus singing Let's Go Barbie, the Barbie song. Why? Don't know. Speaking of Goatus, he hasn't posted in like almost a week. I think something's up and behind the scenes. He's also asking people to send clips of themselves worshiping him. So something's up with Goatus. He hasn't posted in a week, and he's trying to like start some secret death cult or something. Really weird shit. I don't know what's up, but hopefully the authorities are closing in on him. Any day now, that dude's going to get caught. So I got another super chat from Jonna. Very generous of you. Jonna says, Jake, are you able to sing a Blue Oyster Cult song, your choice, with a Punjabi accent? That is actually a very interesting request that nobody's ever requested before. I know lots of Blue Oyster Cult songs because I'm a huge fan, and I've never attempted to sing one in a Punjabi accent, so this will be a first time that I've ever done this. My heart is black and my lips are cold. We got the cities on flame with rock and roll. 1,000 guitars, they seem to cry. My ears will melt and then my eye. So let the girl rock and roll. We got cities on flame now with rock and roll. What else? What other BOC song do I want to sing? With a purposeful grimace and a terrible sound, it pulls the smitty attention wires down. Helpless people on a subway train, they scream bagay as he looks them on down. He picks up a bus and he throws it back down as he wades to the pillage of the center of town. Oh no! They say he's got to go. Go, go, Godzilla, my friend. Woo! Oh no! There goes Tokyo. Go, go, Godzilla. Woo! History shows again and again how nature points out the folly of man. Godzilla! History shows again and again, my friend, how nature points out the folly of man. Godzilla! Burn out the day, burn out the night. I can't see no reason to put up a fight. I'm burning for you. Home in the valley, home in the city. Home is not pretty. There is no home for me. Home in the darkness, home on the highway. Home is not my way. Home I'll never be. Burn out the day, burn out the night. I cannot see no reason to put up a fight. I'm a living for a given the devil is due, and I am burning for you. There you go. There's a few different rundowns of some BOC songs. And then of course, most popular, all our times have come. Seasons don't fear the reaper, nor do they win or the sun or the rain. We can be like they are. Come on, baby. Do not fear the reaper. Baby, take my hand. Do not fear the reaper. You will be able to fly. Do not fear the Reaper, baby. I am your man. La la la. La la la. There you go. I gave you a medley of like all the popular BOC songs, basically. I don't think anyone's ever done that before. I'm probably the only human being who has ever sang Blue Oyster Cult songs in a Punjab accent. Thank you, Jonna, for that wonderful idea, comedic suggestion. I appreciate it. Here she is coming in again with another donation, being super generous tonight. Jake, could you please sing in a Cheech accent? No satellites in space. Wow, you are getting really creative tonight, Jonna. You're like becoming more of a creative genius than me. How about Jonna comes up with all of my creative material from now on, and then I just perform it? I'm going to have Jonna become my writer, my head writer for me, because she's coming up with such funny ideas. You guys need to take notes from Jonna. She's coming up with stuff that's easy for me to do, that's like in my wheelhouse, but it's something I've never done before. I've never sang No Satellites in Space as Cheech. All right. Now I got to get into character and then remember all my lyrics. There are no satellites in space, and NASA never went to the moon. The image you see in your telescope, it might be a hologram. Have you ever heard of this thing called Project Blue Beam? 'Cause you'll be amazed what they're actually doing with all of our monies. They're keeping us locked away from the land of milk and honeys. There are no satellites in space, and NASA never went to the moon. There is no astronauts in space, but so you'd assume there are no astronauts in space, and NASA never went to the moon. You can't fool me, 'cause I'm too slick. You can't fool me, 'cause my mind's too quick, bitch. So suck on this dick, 'cause I'm not falling for these NASA cartoons, because I am not a well-indoctrinated buffoon. There are no satellites in space, and NASA never went to the moon. There are no satellites in space, man, and NASA never went to the moon. Yeah, man. There you go. Threw in a little chong at the end. Scott Kelly, he's a freaking liar, man. He's hanging around in a harness in front of a green screen. That poor freaking liar never been to space. You could see it written all over his blood-red face. Yeah, man. There are no satellites in space, and NASA never went to the moon. Wow, dude, I could actually have Cheech and Chong redo my song, and then I could do Cheech and Chong singing it, and do an impression of Cheech and Chong singing my song, and then redo the whole song as them singing my song, and then re-release the song, a parody of Cheech and Chong doing my song. There might be something to it. Right? Hey, everyone, thank Jonna for coming up with these wonderful comedic ideas. Cheech singing No Satellites in Space. Very creative. I wouldn't have thought of that myself. And I'm pretty damn creative and funny. So that means Jonna, she has a gift. She knows how to unlock my comedic superpowers with her amazing ideas. Everybody thank Jonna. All right. And with that, go ahead and smash the thumbs up, y'all, if you guys had a good night tonight. If you enjoyed what we did here, if it brought a smile to your face, if you learned something new, or if, I just entertained you for a while and you had a good time, show some love, smash that thumbs up button. It really does help when everyone hits the thumbs up. And I'm thinking this is a good point to go ahead and shut it down, finish on a high note. I had a good time. It's been a lovely Tuesday evening hanging out with all of you fine people. And I want to thank everybody for the super chat donations. We had a bunch of donations come in tonight. You guys were very generous. And all of you people who didn't send in a donation, I want to thank all of you for being here as well. When I go back and watch the replay, I'm going to read all of your comments. That's one thing I do when I watch the replay. I read all of your comments. So if you think I only read a few super chats and don't see what you guys are saying, I see what everyone's saying. When I watch the replay, I read every little damn message. So whatever you guys said tonight, I will get to it when I watch the replay later on. So I want to thank you for all being here and hanging out with me tonight. You guys are awesome. You're the best damn YouTube audience that a guy could have. So thank you for hanging out with me on another Tuesday night. Let's do it again soon. All right. So before next Tuesday, I'll try and do another stream for you guys, maybe Friday, Saturday night or so, and we'll stream again. So until next time, the next stream, the next video, until next time, have a great night. Thank you for being here. Love y'all. Peace out. Much love. Bye-bye.